Well, hello and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Maconi Entertainment, and welcome back to the Friday Night Lights Xfinity Series. This is race number 10 of the season, coming to today from The Rock. My name is Ron Mullins. Alongside me in the commentary booth is Shane Mundy. Howie Burrows is our producer for tonight's broadcast. But here for the 10th round of this season, and what a season it has been up to this point. But to keep it going, we head to an old school favorite. We just saw the NASCAR Truck Series make its triumphant return to this racetrack here in real life today, and here the Xfinity Series is running here tonight on the iRacing platform. Shane, I'm really looking forward to this race. The Rock is a classic track in the world of NASCAR. I have a feeling we're in for a good one.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Everybody's missed this place for so long. We've all seen highlights from this place back in the day, and very excited to see it back in action. Rockingham, North Carolina, back in '65. This one opened just a mile in length. And what do you think we can expect to see here tonight, Ron?
I think we're going to see a lot of these drivers try and get a grips to this racetrack. It's the first time that the Friday Night Lights Xfinity Series has run at this track, I believe. So we're going to be in for a good one. It's going to be a complete night and day difference from the race that we had at Bristol 1 week ago. I'm really looking forward to this race. I think it's going to be some fun. We've had a good season up to this point, and here's how it's looking in terms of the championship. Bryson Hicksonball has had 4 wins up to this point, including a win 1 week ago. Try saying that 5 times fast at Bristol. He's been quick, currently leads the championship point standings. You look at the likes of Adam Benefiel, Daniel Lawallen, Ryan Strunk. You look at the rest of the drivers that you see inside the top 10. A lot of them have either punched their way into the playoffs already if they are above 1,000 points. As we have it estimated, they will be locked into those playoffs with some wins. But you look at some of the drivers a little bit farther in the back, guys like one of our Maconi Entertainment colleagues, someone you can catch on the full-length Cup Challenge broadcast, Kirk Mills, currently slotted in 9th. Now, Kirk was involved in the battle for the win 1 week ago at Bristol. I have a feeling he may be fast yet again here tonight. But Shane, currently in the midst of this warm-up session, a little bit of time left to go. I am really looking forward to this 250-lap long race that lies ahead.
Absolutely. We're just about a minute away from getting these guys on the starting grid to turn them loose. And ran some practice laps myself here earlier today in an Xfinity Series car. Noticed just how easy it is to overdrive the corner and lose control of the car. These guys are going to be on edge, I believe, and gosh, I think we're just in for a really exciting night for us and a day for the virtual fans of racing at Rockingham.
Yeah, it is going to be a good one here tonight, and this also has a little bit more importance for it. It is the start of the Dash for Cash stretch of races here from the Friday Night Lights Series. The top 4 in this race will be able to race for $100 cold hard cash for the next round of the championship, and fittingly enough to ramp up the fun, that next race of the season in 1 week's time, broadcasted here on Maconi Entertainment now, is going to be at Talladega, so that is going to be a good one to be sure. Some old-fashioned plate racing. Immediately following up this old-fashioned racetrack, I'm a little bit surprised that in real life they don't even have the safer barriers lined up on that start-finish straightaway. But hey, this track, a matter of about 10 years ago, was completely overgrown and practically abandoned. So the fact we're still even racing around here today, pretty damn awesome as far as I'm concerned. But the checkered flag is out in this warm-up session. I think we'll be able to get that starting grid loaded up for you in just a couple of moments' time. Leading the field to green for the 10th round of the season, this 250-lap long race that lies ahead, is going to be Jonathan Delaney in the number 6 car. Starting alongside is going to be Hunter Truel. In P3, it will be Lucas Hoytsma, who crossed a checkered flag, took that checkered flag in first at Bristol 1 week ago, but thanks to some penalties, did not get the win. Adam Benefiel will start in 4th. Johnny Avila will start in 5th. Alongside him, completing the 3rd row, we have Joseph McWhorter rounding out your top 10 with the cars right behind. Continuing that on with the 4th row, it'll be comprised of Jim Shoefield and Tanner Marty. And rounding out our top 10 for this race is going to be Nolan Hodgson and Mark Padgett.
And then we got Michael Prechik in 11th and Cody Gaza in the 12th position. Cliff Mullins, Matthew Long alongside each other, 13th, 14th. Then down 15th and 16th is Matthew Boston Wheeler. Kyle Ammon in the 17. Joe Rollins in the 18, starting 17th. The 2 of Jacob Simpson starts 18th. And you see look at these intervals. You see just how much of a time gap and speed there was. 23 drivers set a time out of the amount that we have racing here. Cody Bird is 19th. Michael Deitch in 20th. The 42 of Mason Lowry is 21st. Ken Wren is 22nd, and Jeff Kay in the 49 will be 23rd with Eddie Rose in 24th. Kirk Mills 25th. Carlos apologies. 26th for the 99. Eric Wineland in 27th. John Kelly 28th. Corey Deal and Noah Woods 29th and 30th. Then Jeremy Clapper-Newell in 31st. 32nd, Austin Evie. Jason Taylor, Jordan Person, Tim Phillips, and Daniel Llewellyn, all 31st through 36th. And our last 4 starters, those drivers have actually DQ'd.
Yeah, so that is going to be your starting grid for the 10th round of this season. I think we're going to rack them up in a couple of moments' time and get this race underway. 250 laps. The stage is coming at 60 and 120. This is going to be a fun one. Nevertheless, the green flag is out, and the drivers are on their way, heading down that start-finish straightaway off into turn number 1. Look at these drivers fanning out already side by side. Maybe going to risk and go 3 wide in a couple of moments' time. At the front of the field, though, it is so incredibly tense as these drivers head their way down that back straightaway, hoping to keep this start clean, and it looks like they're all clean heading down that back straightaway off into 3 and 4 right now. Been a clean start all throughout this field. Some drivers already feeling the burn and feeling the wiggle, but for their pole man Jonathan Delaney, it is a dream start in the 6th as he leads them into 1 and 2 the second time.
And Johnny Avila and Hoytsma in the 97 side by side for second for a brief moment. Looks like down the back straightaway here. This is, like you said, these are tense moments. Everybody just, we got one sideways down the back straightaway. Not sure if they were able to hang on to it.
God bless
Looks like we're clean and green.
Yeah, I have no idea how they are able to keep it clean. It looked like a round of bumper cars heading out of that turn 1 and 2 section down that back straightaway. Was fully expecting someone to get ponged off and hit that inside barrier, but thankfully we keep it clean to the midway point of the 3rd lap. 250 laps that lie ahead. Plenty of opportunities for these drivers to get some moves done, but as this field is still vacuum sealed together, they want to get the moves done and make hay while the sun is shining. And look at that, Avila in the number 84 car already taking the race lead down into 1 and 2, setting the fast lap of the race and booking it around Jonathan Delaney.
He's just been getting faster and faster every lap, and nobody been able to top it yet. Hunter Truhl is trying to take the 3rd spot away from Hoytsma. Hoytsma kind of fading early, but could also just kind of be saving tire. That's another thing that's going to come into play here. You'd figure at a track as old as this, surface-wise, I know it's a little fresher in real life, but we've got a pretty throwback look at Rockingham here so far tonight.
And looking at this field, still negotiating the early stages of this race. And when it comes to a race like this, I think these drivers are probably going to be walking around on eggshells for the opening few laps. Well, keep it clean, keep it tidy. Don't want to set yourself off on a really big back foot in the early stages. Don't want to wind yourself up in the barrier or anything like that. That would not be the ideal start for a 250 lap long race. We'll say Matthew Boston Wheeler seems to be on the move at the moment in the 06 car, making some moves up. Here's Joseph McCorder currently running in P6 in the number 73. We've got Jim Shoefield right in front. Those two cars basically nose to tail, heading their way off down that start finish straightaway. At the front of the field, though, Johnny Avila has gone off to a flyer. Ever since he got that move done on Jonathan Delaney, he's now extended that gap to over a second. Now teetering around 1.1, 1.2. So Avila kicking on the afterburners.
A solid start for the 84, just about as good as you could hope for, but it's a long day. Anything can and will happen here around the Rock. As we take a look at the gap right there on your screen, and like you said, just continues to grow. It seems like Avila's a lot better on straightaway speed, maybe even corner entry. Delaney only able to crack down on it a little bit, but by the time he does, Avila's right back in, just flying. You see the gaps the last few laps, 4 tenths slower, 2 tenths slower, and another 2 tenths slower. This time by, it is another 2 tenths. So still just Delaney either kind of taking it smooth so far, doesn't want to burn up his equipment yet, or maybe just that 84 is, like you said, just got the afterburners on and is really that fast.
Yeah, only time will tell, but I will say Delaney not really falling back into the crutches of Hunter Truex either. The gap between the 6 and the 71 still about the same, around 0.4 of a second, teetering around that barrier. So certainly not a huge pace disparity for Delaney. He's not dropping down like an anvil push out of a helicopter. So he's running strong as it stands at the present moment. I think the drivers up towards the front have spread out, at least when it comes to Avila, Delaney, and Truex. Right behind him, though, you have a bit of a hornet's nest forming. Lucas Hoisman, the 97 car, not terribly far in front of Jim Shoefield as a caution coming at. That's the reason why. That is Jeff K in the number 49 car, and he is all torn up.
A lot of damage here to the 49. We're going to jump real quick into a replay and see what on earth happened here to the 49. A lot of nose damage, so you kind of figure this crash happens maybe on exit of turn 2. Kind of easy to overdrive exit, and he does just that. Hits the wall and just ricochets right down into the inside wall in hard. Devastating blow there for the 49 car.
Yeah, that is going to be a real kick in the shins to get this race up and underway. To have a moment like that very early on is not ideal in the slightest, as I think we have had a jump scare under yellow there.
Yeah, we have. We've got playing games getting on pit road. Didn't know where he was going for a second. Jim Schofield up into the top 5 in that 47 machine. And we do have a few guys hitting pit road here. You see you'll see their pit stop time on the right side of your screen. There's Michael Deesh.
I think looking through at the list of drivers, I've decided that now is the time to pit. A lot of them were the ones that started a little bit farther in the back who did not get a time in during that qualifying session before this race. Of course, it's before what would be after. But looking at that, Ken Rana is the fastest off of pit lane. You can see him in the number 33 machine running his way down the pit. 6.8 seconds stopped in the stall, and it's going to be 37.3 down pit lane. He had to have taken only one side of tires on that race car, so that's going to help him out a lot. Currently finds himself in 29th presently. Look at the other times. Eddie Rose, 19 seconds, stopped in his pit stall. Some of the others certainly in the teens or right below it. Will Reyes, though, talking about that car that we saw of Jeff K involved in the incident, you'll see him spend a lot of time down pit lane. There are no fast repairs allotted to these drivers. I think he decided to maybe just call it a day after that. Won't necessarily blame him.
That was a lot of damage, and that's just, it's not ever fun to limp around a racetrack with a ton of damage, especially a 250 lap race. You wreck only a little past 10 laps in, so definitely unfortunate for him to try to bounce back at Talladega. We have gotten the 1 to green signal as Brian Wortman took a last-second detour, and looking at that pit stop time maybe tells me that this was to top off on fuel?
Yeah, potentially. Only 4.3 seconds stopped in the pit stall, so either it was a quick splash and dash to maybe extend this stint a teeny tiny bit, that or he's been feeding his iRacing mechanics a whole lot of Red Bull. So I think that may potentially be the case, but nevertheless, coming to the restart here, 13 laps on the board, coming to 14 now, and it's still the same heavy hitters at the front of the field, but this time the number 84 of Johnny Avila is going to be leading them back to green in that green car. The green flag back out, and the drivers are on their way. A lot of wheel spin there from Delaney. That's not going to help out his cause one bit. He's going to feel a lot of pressure from Hunter Truex on the inside line. Let's see how it's going to work. The 71, the 6 side by side. Lots of drivers still battling hard all throughout this field. Truex looking to displace Delaney, who had an okay start, then lost out on a spot, and ever since that, I think that number 6 car has been driving incredibly sour.
Yeah, this is where you want to be very careful. Cold tires, talked a lot about overdriving corners, whether it's corner entry, corner exit. We saw that bite, that last caution. So these guys just trying to keep it nice and smooth on exit turn 2. That wall just sneaks up on you. The safer barrier just kind of comes to an end, an abrupt stop. And it's very easy to just kind of mow that down. And we've talked about Wheeler as well, the 06. He's the main one that I've seen really utilizing some different lanes through these corners. That last run was kind of sticking it up on the top line, kind of a Kyle Larson sort of vibe. He's still at it and gets a good run, and he's going to take a crack at the 8th position and take it with ease.
And talking about some of the drivers a little bit farther outside of that front pack fight, Mullins in the 82 car has been blinking wildly in av existence. So if you see him shuffling around, no, it's not a monumental battle. Well, it's a battle for Mullins, just trying to battle with his internet provider. You can see him blinking in av existence there. So I think some UFO activity may be striking the rock here in the very early stages. So hopefully the number 82 car will be able to remain with us. Otherwise, he may get sucked up into that UFO. But side-by-side racing going on a little bit farther in front of Mullins, looking at that, heading down that start-finish straightaway, off into 1 and 2. Avila at the front of the field has grown out that gap to himself and Truel, now to about 8 to 9 tenths of a second, so clearly Avila has got a lot of speed.
I'm telling you, I'm really liking what I'm seeing out of Matthew Boston Wheeler in that 06. That thing is sporty. He can put it just about anywhere. Saw him make a pass on the bottom, the middle. He's flying around the top and really the only one utilizing it. And even if he wasn't, he's the only one really doing it well. Now we're looking at Mason Lowry in the 42, back in the 16th position. That's going to be that white car on your screen. And Wheeler's got another one here. He gets by Schofield for the 6th spot. Would be interested to see if we could maybe get an idea of the lap times for the leader compared to the 06, because this Matthew Wheeler machine is flying.
You can see he may try and get another move done, this time down the inside into 3 and 4 on Jonathan Delaney. That 6 car has been driving rather sour as of late. Look at that in terms of lap times. So a little bit slower compared to our leader of Johnny Avila. I wonder how it's working compared to P2 of Joseph McWhorter, because I can imagine that's a rather good advantage. And there you can see the pace disparity between Jonathan Delaney and Matthew Boston Wheeler. It's not huge swing that he's taking out. I say that even though a couple of laps ago he took about 0.4 of a second at him in one lap. There's the difference to P2. I gotta say, Shane, I think you are right in eyeballing Matthew Boston Wheeler as he gets a monumental run, hang down that start finish straight away off into 1 and 2. Gotta lick the stamp and send it to get a move done on that number 6 car. This is a bad spot.
And he cleared it.
Holy cow, look at that. That's Schofield now trying to get the move done, the 47 car. Holy cow.
He was definitely decided in his mind it was time to make this pass. Might have squeezed Delaney into the wall just a touch, not enough to cause any significant damage, I wouldn't imagine. As we take a look a little closer to the front, as Wheeler has a little bit of a gap to make up, kind of because of that bunch up to Hoytsma in the 4th spot. Delaney now kind of on the rebound, trying to make up for lost time. This is the onboard for Matthew Boston Wheeler. You see just how high he's getting on 3 and 4. I feel like especially in 3 and 4, this will be a great angle. So he just drives it in, lets it kind of walk up, and then he's going to probably diamond it down on corner exit. He's going to come right up. There's where I talk about the safer barrier kind of sneaks up on you. He is just ripping on you. You see that gauge flashing red for a second. He's almost on the chip, the rev limiter going into corner exit. That's how much straightaway speed that he's able to carry.
Yeah, Matthew Boston Wheeler, as it stands at the present moment, is really hauling the mail in the 06 car. He is wheeling that thing around the track. The pun was there. That was a softball. I had to swing at that. But he's still running very good at the moment in the 06 machine. I'm not sure if, unless there is a yellow, he will be able to catch up to some of the drivers a little bit farther in front. Side-by-side racing going on right behind, involving Simpson and Paget. That's heading through 3 and 4 right now. Oh, contact being made. Look at that. The sideways snap from Paget. He's not going to be a sitting duck long, trying to get a move done down that start finish straight away, but Simpson and Paget nearly coming to blows. Well held from the 0-2. That could have ended in disaster otherwise.
Yeah, that was very close. That was a little bit worse than what we saw with Delaney and Wheeler just a few laps ago. Here's Hunter Truel in the old Maconi setup shop colors, heading down to turn 1, trying to find a way by McWhorter in the 2nd spot. Solid running so far for the 71, but nobody able to touch the 84. I haven't talked about him in a minute. He is still just checked out, gone, managing a good gap of about 1.3 seconds still. So not much different from the last run, and this could get a little interesting as this battle heats up yet again between the 06 and the V6.
Yeah, it's these two pretty much being itchy and scratchy over the past couple of laps. Now Delaney looking to fight back to Wheeler side by side, hang down that back straightaway off into 3 and 4. That 06 car has the momentum on that high side, but the 6 car clearly coming back to life. It's been odd what we've seen thus far from the number 6 car of Jonathan Delaney. Start up towards the front, nearly coming to blows coming at 3 and 4. Look at that. That's a preview of the finish. I'm really interested to see how it's going to shake out for the rest of this race, but look at that Delaney getting that move done on the 06. It's been odd from Jonathan Delaney in that 6 car. It's as if the car was alive at the start, then was dead on arrival, and then he's kind of come back to, he's been resurrected in that 6 car.
Yeah, it definitely looked like Delaney's a little better on the long run. And we got a caution here. This will be our second of the day. And, got a couple around. The 18, the 07, Daniel Wallen. And both of them have repairs. Have meatball flags. That is the repairs required flags. Take a look at what happened here. This is in turns 1 and 2. Daniel Wallen in the 07. That's the blue and orange. A big stack of... and he just gets punted. And so did the 18. Both of those guys, honestly, just kind of innocent bystanders. Joe Rollins was the other one. He was in the 18, the Interstate Batteries machine. Just a big stack up. This ought to give us a better idea of what they saw. This is from the 18's vantage point. I think somebody got the wall, and there was no time to react.
I think based off the first view that I saw, I couldn't really see the number on the back of that car. I think it may have been the 13, potentially, that we saw get up into the wall. You can see side-by-side racing going on right in front. So it may have been Cody Bird. I'm trying to look to see.
Yeah, I believe you're right. Yep.
There we go.
He gets the wall, and, I mentioned that not to sound like a broken record, but that wall, it really... Oh, my goodness. The 18 caught some air. Not sure who that was that got into him. Yeah, Steve Benjamin, heavy front end damage. He just pile drove the 18 of Rollins. Pit stops are underway though, and we've got a lot of takers at this stage of the race. We're about 32, just past 31 laps complete. So this may just bunch up the field, and maybe some people playing strategy here. This will be interesting.
Yeah, I think the strategy game is very much so being played at this stage of the race. Over halfway through the first stage of this race, the brakes coming at 60, 120, and then obviously the final 130 laps of this race to lap 250 will decide it. Do have some green-white checkers, though, which we may have to talk about later on in this race. These drivers limited to 7 sets as an end-of-the-line penalty for Matthew Boston Wheeler. I think he sped on pit lane. Clearly, the officials having those camera guns out.
Yeah, see something. And he's going to kind of cause a jam up here. The 17, Kyle Ammon, has also been given a end-of-line penalty here. Let's take a look. See if there's anything... Don't see anything super nefarious there. Didn't look like he was super quicker than anybody else. But, I mean, they'll get you for just about anything over pit speed. And that is obviously upsetting for the 06, but it could be fun for us up here in the booth. We've seen him be a lot of fun to watch up front. It might be even more fun to see him make his way back up here.
And one thing to raise talking about that pit cycle is the split strategies that we now have. The top 3 have not come down pit lane, and the 3 right behind them, the likes of Eddie Rose, Michael Dedich, and Kirk Mills, they came in during the first yellow. You can see they pitted on lap 12. 7 sets of tires allotted to these racers, so you've got a mix of drivers on pretty much completely fresh new tires, some drivers on some a little bit older ones, and then some drivers who have been on the same tires ever since the drop of the green flag. May not seem like much, but here at the Rock, I mean, look at that surface. It looks about as patchy as my face when I was 14. It's going to be like a cheese grater on these tires. I have a feeling we may end up seeing some of these drivers drop down a little bit. How's it going to work out for Delaney? He's going to be the control car on this restart. A little bit of wheel spin from the 2 of Simpson, but the green flag is back out, and it's a good start from Delaney. Going to try and lead them hang down into turn number 1. A bit of a smoke in the air. That, I think, was potentially from Kirk Mills in the 69 car. May have had a little bit of contact going right behind him, put some smoke up in the air.
Sorry to interrupt, Ron, but Tim Phillips, it was one of the guys that stayed out there, has not hit yet this race, and he is paying the price for it right now. He is just dropped an anchor. Kind of see him at the back there, white car with a black top. And these guys are still banging off each other, smoking the tires going to the corner. We got guys 3 wide. And this is what happens when you get mixed strategy at a place like this with heavy tire wear. These guys that are on older tires are going to be in the way. You're going to have guys on newer tires just blowing your doors off. It's a helpless feeling. Maybe you were hoping to catch a quick yellow and get on cycle with them. There's just all kinds of things that run through your head. As Delaney, though, still on those same tires he started the race with, enjoying that clean air, has about a 7/10 gap to Eddie Rose. As Johnny, the 84 Dominic car today, had a little bit of a moment there off turn 2.
Yeah, Johnny Avila coming out of turn 2 was oh so sideways. He managed to hold on to it as out of 3 and 4. That's a 2-car taking a trip through the victory lane. That's going to be a lawn mowing escapade. I don't think he'll bring the yellow out, though. He kept it going. The green flag is still out, and the green is exactly what he ran through after that sideways snap coming out of 3 and 4. Very lucky not to get collected by anybody else, but here's a sideways snap. Clip the wall a little bit. That's not the first time we've seen a driver lose it after hitting the wall. I don't think he'll
he did get it. He barely scraped that inside wall. Obviously, could have been so much worse. But that wall, like you said, it has bitten a lot of these guys today. We've seen it on a few different occasions here. And look at this difference right here. The lap times. That's not going to be much of a battle there. New leader.
Yeah, that's Johnny Avila back up at the front. It's deja vu to what we saw in the very early stages, the battle between those two, albeit now Avila, as much as he had the upper hand in the earlier version of that fight, certainly has it with 32-lap younger tires on that race car, 39 laps now on the board, rapidly approaching upon the first stage break at lap 60. I wonder how this field is going to shake out. Those drivers who came into the pits on lap 12, they haven't really been able to do too well as of recent. They've been holding their own, though. The drivers on the very old tires have dropped down like anvils pushed out of a helicopter. Currently, your top running driver on that initial strategy was Eddie Rose in the number 46 car, so he finds himself in 8th at the present moment. Still within striking distance of Johnny Avila as side-by-side racing going on right now. Jonathan Delaney, who's still been on that same set of good years since the drop of the green flag, is trying to hold on for dear life, but it is a losing battle on the 6.
This is just a miserable feeling, especially with how he's having to, get up towards the top on corner exit. Makes me nervous every time he comes up off exit of 2, exit of 4. It doesn't matter. He's just kind of trying to stay out of the way, keep that thing in one piece, and try to hopefully catch a yellow. We got someone right there hit the wall. I think it was right behind. I think Eddie Rose, and now Delaney hitting it as well. So a lot of these guys on these older tires, they're now begging for a caution. And if you get a quick yellow on this kind of strategy, you might look like a genius. You've got an extra set of tires compared to some of these guys that might also choose to stop on that yellow, or you're just gonna miss the strategy, and that's the gamble of it. And Delaney, so far, honestly, all things considered, could be a lot worse. Still running inside the top 10. Hoytsman looking for 4th on Adam Benefiel.
Hoytsma getting the move done to move his way up into 4th. Lucas Hoytsma, very quick in the world of the full-length Cup Challenge. He was quick 1 week ago. I mean, he won that Bristol race for the Cup Series, and in the Xfinity, he nearly won it. He picked up a penalty on the final green-white checkered restart, and as a result of that, crossed the start-finish line in first, but was then docked a penalty, which dropped him down the running order. Lucas Hoytsma, though, in that number 97 car, is very, very quick, and despite the fact we haven't really talked about him too much in this race, as the commentator Jinx striking immediately as he scrapes a wall in dramatic fashion, coming out of 3 and 4. Held on to it, though, definitely not with clean pants.
Oh boy, you nearly had that fan base coming at you with pitchforks this year. But nonetheless, do want to point out, for anyone that might be wondering, Matthew Boston Miller, the 06, talked about how he got a penalty on that last caution coming up pit road. He has cracked the top 20 already, so he's on the move. Be interesting to see if maybe it'll stall at any point. Matthew Long is into the top 10 in the 28. Jonathan Delaney continuing to struggle. He'll fall back to 9th now. Joseph McWhorter trying to hold off Hoytsman, who really threw it into turn 3. Those Goodyears are not going to like these last few laps that the 97 has put on them.
Yeah, I raised the point earlier on talking about how rough this racetrack is for these tires, and considering we are limited to 7 sets, that will be a nice little strategy thing that we have to talk about between now and the end of this race. But as it stands presently, these drivers not really caring about tire preservation or anything like that. They're just trying to get as many spots as they can before that first stage break, only coming up in about 13 laps time, mind you. So these drivers starting to feel the pressure and feeling the burn. Some dropping down like a gallon of mercury thrown out of the back of a science's bus, and others running into some difficulties of their own. Eddie Rose currently finds himself in 10th. He was the highest running of those drivers who came into the pits on lap 12, and still running okay. But I think those drivers who had that different strategy, it's not about the temporary gains. They're probably eyeballing some better runs a little bit farther down the line in this race.
And also got some point standings up there in the top right of your screen for those curious about that battle. It's looking at 6th to 12th position. This is right at the playoff bubble. Still got a battle going on for 4th. Adam Benefiel still working on McWhorter. Hoitzma in 3rd. And still, though, Johnny Avila is checked out. He is now almost 2 seconds in front of Hunter Truhl, who, by the way, we haven't really talked about all that much this run, but is holding his own pretty well there in 2nd. This battle for 4th is definitely starting to heat up, though, as McWhorter gets to the inside.
Ooh, boy, that was... Yeah, Benefiel again, that move done to slip his way up into P4. Joseph McWhorter feeling the burn. Is still side-by-side fight between those two, and a side-by-side fight right in front. Maybe gonna flare up between Hunter Truhl and Lucas Hoitzma. They're covered by practically nothing. Here's another side-by-side fight. The man you were talking about earlier on, Shane, Matthew Boston Wheeler, in that 06 car. He's now got a side-by-side fight on his hands, trying to break his way up into the top 16 and maybe find his way potentially scraping onto the top 10 between now and the end of this stage. Only coming up in a couple of laps time, though, so time may be running out for Matthew Boston Wheeler to break his way back into the top 10. It's a Hornets that he finds himself in at the present moment. He's got Corey Deal running right behind and nearly hitting the wall in the process. A big sideways snap out of turn 4, and side-by-side right in front involving Tanner Marty.
Yeah, that. Oh! Wait. Whoa! My goodness, who was that?
That
had a huge stay by the 46 of Eddie Rose. Oh my goodness, got the 35 back here as well. Oh my goodness, let's take another look at this. We are approaching the end of this opening stage. This is on board with Eddie Rose. You've got Delaney ahead. Oh, same thing, he hit that wall, but he was able to hang on to it, and just unfortunately the 35 was just in his way where he saved it, but I don't think he's any worse for the wear here. Just nearing the bout, closing in on the final 5 laps, just about, in stage 1. Been all about Johnny Avila in the 84 so far today. Ever since he took the lead, it has been his show. This is a 3-stage race. If you are just joining us, we go to lap 60. I believe it's lap 120 after that. So once we cross the line, hit lap 60, that will be the final lap of stage 1. They'll come back around to the, you'll have to kind of imagine the green checkered flag. And then same deal for 120, it'll come out on 121. And then we'll race to the checkered for lap 250. As we talk about a hornet's nest, here's a heck of a one.
Yeah, it's one involving Jim Shoefield, Hunter Truhl, and Joseph McWhorter. That's a side-by-side fight between Shoefield and Truhl. That's heading down to 1 and 2, and Shoefield going to get that move done to break his way into the final top 5 spot. Still going to be a good battle if they catch up to McWhorter right in front. A little bit of a gap between those two, but hey, nothing that can't be surmounted between now and the end of this stage. Coming up in just a couple of laps time, making to the outside line is Shoefield. He's still trying to defend from that number 71. As a caution coming out, that's a spinner and a crusher heading down the back straightaway. That right there is Person. You can see him rolling down that back straightaway. Jordan Person has had a moment in the number 14 race car. That will do it for stage 1, and you can see multiple cars coming to blows. He had a sideways snap, and that I think was the 46 of Rose, who had one right around him.
Yeah, Rose has had an eventful several laps. This one, a lot more damage, it would appear. I think he just, same situation, just side slaps the wall and bounces right off it in the 14 of parts. Oh my goodness. And you hate that because obviously, you know, there was no malicious intent with this, but just wrong place, wrong time for the 14. I mean, it doesn't get any more unfortunate than that.
Yeah, and we see yet again the barriers around this track basically being, there's like a force field around it that repels these cars whenever they hit. It just bounces them back into harm's way. As you can see, drivers deciding that now is the time to come down pit lane. These drivers who have either been on the same tires ever since the drop of the green flag, obviously going to be coming in. You can see the 6 cars certainly coming in. Johnny Avila making that call to stop, which is rather interesting considering he came into the pits during the last yellow. He's going to get the jump on the rest of the field. The number 97 going to be slotted in P2 as a result of all of this. Jonathan Delaney in the pit stall. We're also going to see these drivers who pitted on lap 12, which did include Eddie Rose, make that call to pit. I raised this earlier on talking about Rose, as I believe we will be coming to the end of the stage in a couple of laps time, and we'll be able to declare a stage 1 winner here at Rockingham for tonight's coverage of the Friday Night Lights Xfinity Series here on Maconi Entertainment. But I want to raise, talking about those drivers who came into the pits on lap 12, they were really just hoping to stay out there on the track and make it to that stage break. I mean, they technically did. This yellow will serve as the stage break caution, but I don't think I don't think Rose in that number 46 car wanted that break to be made up as a result of all of it. But I think, this is okay. So here's how it's going to shake out. Right towards the end of the stage, Johnny Avila is going to grab the stage victory. Lucas Hoytsma going to be slotted in P2, Adam Benefiel in 3rd, Joseph McWhorter, Hunter Trill, Jim Schofield, Nolan Hudson, and then looking through the rest of the top 10 is Matthew Long and Eric Wineland and Jonathan Delaney. Good recovery from the number 6 at Delaney. The fact he was able to break his way back into the top 10 as a result of that rather rough spot that he found himself in the earlier stages. But I think we're coming to a restart this time, so this will actually end this stage. They will not be having a green-white checkered scenario for this stage. It is just going to be green as soon as we get into stage 2, set to begin right about now. That green flag back out, and yet again the outside line not getting a good one. Lots of drivers trying to dice around. Delaney getting off to a terrible restart. You can see him dropping down there in that 6 car like a rock thrown into a pond. Yeah, there may be a little bit of damage on that race car.
We've seen that on a few restarts. Most of them have been able to kind of get away scot-free. A lot of wheel spin, cold tires. You know, you stab the throttle trying to get going here. Maybe, you know, you run in first gear. It happens. And the 6 just pile drove him. We'll take a look at it when we get a moment here. And also going back to the stage results that we were showing just a moment ago. That is, of course, unofficial. But if it does pan out that way, it worked out all right, I suppose, for Jonathan Delaney, who took that gamble at the second to last stage. They're running 9th now, though, and of course maybe a little bit of damage there. But Lucas Hoytsma has taken the top spot away here at Rockingham.
Yeah, Lucas Hoytsma in that number 97 car, taking advantage of the bad restart from Johnny Avila in the 84 to jump into the race lead for the first time in this race here at Rockingham this evening. Hoytsma trying to hold on to it for as long as he can. Johnny Avila, despite having that wheel spin on that restart, really the inside line ever since the start of this race has not been the line to be in. As we're going to take a look to see that moment for Delaney that caused that huge stack up.
Yeah, so let's see what happens. They're not laying back all that much, but almost nobody in the first 3 or 4 rows on the outside laid back. Oh, the 73, then check up, and he runs right square into the back of the 28. Definitely see a little bit of left rear damage on the 28, so can only assume there might be a little damage on the nose of the 6 car. But it did not take long for Johnny Avila to take his lead right back from Lucas Hoytsma, as Matthew Boston Wheeler has made his way back into the picture. He is now into the 7th position after a pit road penalty. Solid recovery so far, and still looking for more. That's why if you're going to get a penalty, it's best that it happens early in a long race.
Yeah, and if you have anyone to ask about that, ask Lucas Hoytsma. He got the penalty last week at the last opportunity to do so, and that was a kick in the shins for him. I don't remember exactly where he was classified, but it was well farther back than where he actually crossed the line. He's dropped down a little bit. Avila back in the race lead. Joseph McWhorter just got a move done on him to drop Hoytsma back down to third and raise McWhorter back to second. So clearly Hoytsma, as much as he was fast towards the end of that first stage, at the start of the second one, he is dropping back a bit.
Yeah, it's interesting how some of these guys, they'll start a run really strong and just immediately fall back. And then you've got guys that come into play on the long run. Matthew Boston Wheeler still taking that kind of interesting lane through 1 and 2, and then in 3 and 4 he's kept it mostly high for the most part. He just drives in a little low, lets the car, almost kind of like how you would drive 1 and 2 at Darlington is what it kind of reminds me of. You drive it in low, kind of feed the car up towards the wall, and then kind of point it back down on corner exit. Obviously a lot wider of a corner here than Darlington, so maybe it's not as scary to do it here.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a bit of a difference between the two, but hey, you can still draw some comparisons here and there, so I'll give you that. We're looking at these drivers still running around this track, now on lap 70 of this 250-lap long race, so they are slowly but surely whittling away those laps and getting towards the end of that second stage. Still a while left to go. Certainly that restart that we had a couple of laps ago, still in our rear view mirror. Johnny Avila, your race leader, Joseph McWhorter slotted in third. Hoytsma, Benefiel, and Truel rounding out our top 5. The driver you've been talking about a lot throughout this race, Shane. And we find Matthew Boston Wheeler in 7th at the present moment. Matthew Boston Wheeler, I have a feeling that 06 car, he's going to be like a cockroach in a nuclear fallout. You cannot kill him.
Just showing no signs of going away. Here's the time gap difference, lap time wise, the last 3 laps between Schofield in 6th and Wheeler in 7th. See what it was this lap. It's just faster that lap. Not by a ton, but he's getting there. So we'll see. That gap about 8 tenths as it stands right now, and that's just for the 6th spot. Johnny Avila still up front, now putting over a second gap on the quarter in his 2nd place 73 car. Looking back through the top 10, I noticed Nolan Hodgson is in 8th, someone we haven't talked much about. Don Kelly is 9th, Eric Wineland in 10th in the 87, so a good shout to those guys. Jonathan Delaney, who we saw kind of involved in that restart stack-up with potential maybe front-end damage on his machine, is all the way back to 11th. Kind of see him lingering in the background there. This is Nolan Hodgson on your screen with a pretty interesting paint job on that thing.
Yeah, it is a rather striking paint scheme on that for sure. I'm still intrigued. Our producer, Howie Burrows, raised this earlier on. A ghost car run a little bit farther in the back.
Let's see if we can find this
so
thing.
Weird.
There it is.
Because, there we go. So every single time there's like a long shot of it, it just always looks rather funky for some inexplicable reason. I'm not sure whether it's got like a weird hue to it.
It's got a spec. It's got a spec map on it. There it is. It's got a very interesting spec map on it. It's kind of a chrome matte metallic all in one, but it makes for a very interesting looking car on the track. You can't miss him. I'll say that much. You definitely won't have any trouble finding him.
You know what? This is going to be a very odd comparison, but the way that car looks reminds me of like old tricks that they would teach you on like a YouTube tutorial of how to make a chrome paint scheme in like the original Forza Horizon game. I remember as a kid playing that on my Xbox and be like, I want to make a chrome scheme because I was so like, I want a chrome car. I want some sort of metallic-y paint scheme because this was back in the days that they only had just the straight gloss color and nothing else. So you had to do some weird stuff with the decal editor editor and like mess around with the opacity and the hue to kind of make it into a chrome. That's what that reminds me of. It is the strangest comparison that I think has ever been made in iRacing broadcasting, which is fresh coming from me. I've talked about falling anvils and UFO abductions on iRacing show. So
our producer's letting us know how he feels about it. I dig it for Corey Deal. He's got purple roll bars in that chassis as well. So he's done that thing up. Another look at the 06 there. Look at this thing. Got some chrome rims on it. The 82 right beside him's got a pink chassis in it. So that's the beauty of iRacing. You can still do this in iRacing. Not something you'll see in real life, but it's pretty cool in sim to see it. It matches that 82 machine of Cliff Mullins awfully well. Battle for 6 continues on with Boston Wheeler, Schofield looking on at Poitsma, who has drifted all the way back to 5th, and now a battle for 2nd is brewing here with Benefiel and McWhorter. Might not be a very long battle.
Yeah, Benefiel again, that move done, heading down into 1 and 2. Let's see if he will be able to shake off this challenge from McWhorter, or if the number 73 car will try and fight back and get to number 83. It's still a rather big gap between Avila and our now P2 runner of Adam Benefiel, 1.5 seconds to be a bit more precise. So that is a rather big gap to try and surmount. I mean, as much as we do have a lot of time left to go in this second stage, and certainly a lot of time left to go in this race, there's only so much you can do around a racetrack like this. So let's see how it's going to work out between Avila and Benefiel, whether or not there will be any sort of yellow intervention that could possibly break that up a teeny tiny bit. Hey, only time will tell. Looking at that battle that we raised a couple of moments ago involving Matthew Boston Wheeler and Jim Schofield, I think we could throw Nolan Hodgson involved in all of that as well. You can just barely see him in that number 12 car. I say barely see him. He's like right in the middle of the camera shot. He's currently running good at the present moment. And
you're kind of getting called out up top.
Yeah, my commentator's jinxes have gone down in infamy. I don't know what it is. I guess, wasn't that Kevin Harvick said about Jimmy Johnson many moons ago about, yeah, we had a golden horseshoe
up you know where, yep.
Yeah, I think I have.
Oh, we got a couple here. There's some debris that was in turn 2. Yeah, we stayed green here, but Joseph McWhorter, I believe, had a decent problem here. I believe I saw the rear end come off this thing. Let's see. Oh, he blinked.
So, okay, he had 88 miles an hour on corner exit. He's now been sent back to about 1850. And there you can see, contact being made between the 33 and the 17. What in the world? That's Ken Ron in the 33 machine having a big sideways snap. He kept it going. But that was a rather bizarre series of events. We'll say that Joseph McWhorter has lost out on a boatload of time to the back of Adam Benefiel. Now about 1.5 seconds between those two drivers in P2 and P3. But what in the world happened? There is contact again. Actually, that's a replay. Okay.
Oh, okay.
That was a jump scare.
I thought they were at it again.
Holy cow!
I thought they were at it again.
Oh, that was odd from the 33. I wonder if there's a hardware failure.
Yeah, I mean, you could look at that in the 17, I believe, there is just unhappy because, you can, in real life, you would boil that down to maybe a tire went down, but that is not really something that you would see here on the iRacing service. So I would hope that was some sort of hardware issue. It's just hard to say, but wrong place, wrong time for the 17.
Yeah, wrong place, wrong time indeed. That's such a tough moment for those two racers heading off through 1 and 2 a couple of moments ago. That was a jump scare of a lifetime. I thought we'd jump back to live action. We're seeing a case of deja vu! Holy cow, that was Jim Schofield. Mega sideways, hang down that back straight away. He's able to keep it going in a straight line, still finds himself in sick. Oh, wait, now he's got a side-by-side fight on his hands with himself and Matthew Boston Wheeler. He has come out on top of that battle as it stands presently, but a lot of stuff can change. Hodgson now trying to get a move done on the 6, the 06, I should say. This is a hornet's nest of race cars. Battling is, holy cow, that's a big moment for Matthew Boston Wheeler. Gets the inside wall.
Oh, that left front is bent. You can tell he's going to have to, I don't think he can keep that thing out here. We're going to show right away what happened here. I think the wall got another victim. It sure did. Oh my goodness, right in front of the 33. coming off pit road. You want to talk a jump scare, Ron?
Has a code brown moment for the 33. There's no question or shadow of a doubt about that. In fact, I'm curious how we can maybe get a replay of that from a 33's perspective, because that's going to be the
we got a caution
nightmare.
well.
But as this drama is going on, the yellow flag is out with 90 laps on the board, and I think this may have been it. The number
here.
42 and potentially the 27 got involved in a little bit of an incident. And if we have the barrier involved in this yet again, I swear to all that is holy.
I think let's see. 42. Oh, just. I don't want to say got completely turned, just kind of met it up in a bad spot. Yeah, there was no wall involved. And I'll tell you, that wall on exit of both corners, both sets of corners, right there on exit of 4 and on exit of 2, the safer barrier, when I say it comes to an abrupt end, it just kind of fades inward. And if you hit the wall when you're on the safer barrier, you're just going to bounce into that straight wall, and you're just going to go down. Yeah, Eddie Rose just met up with him at a kind of unfortunate time. But we are under caution here during stage number 2.
With pit stops.
With some pit stops on the way. There's Mason Lowry, who was the unfortunate reason for this caution. Joseph McWhorter still keeps second for now, with Johnny Avila up front. Got a few guys that did elect to hit pit road there. Jonathan Delaney, who we saw fading earlier on, there he is. Big of the Devil. Tight race off pit road there. I almost wonder, this car pulling off here, I think might have just got a blend line violation.
So interesting to raise. Because of all of this, we are seeing yet again split strategies, but nowhere near as split as they were in stage number 1. The top 4, though, have not come into the pits. That list includes Johnny Avila, Joseph McWhorter, Eddie Rose, and Tanner Marty. Rose, we saw him kind of run into some difficulties right towards the end of stage number 1. He came into the pits on lap 12 during the first yellow of this race, and then stayed out for the rest of that first stage all the way through into lap 60. Avila and McWhorter staying out, that's somewhat understandable. They are running strong at the front. I wonder if we will see Johnny Avila maintain that same pace that we have seen, even with him running on much older tires compared to some of the drivers around them. This isn't the same case that we saw earlier on when we had some drivers pit on lap 12 versus some pit on lap 34. This is going to be rather different. We got some drivers who have stayed out ever since lap 59, and others who just came into the pits a matter of a couple of laps ago. And that's a long run until we get to the end of this second stage, as Howie pops up on the info screen. Stage 1 ends at the start of lap 121. So still have about 29 laps left to go in this stage. Let's see how the wheel spin's going to work for Avila on those old tires on that outside line. Actually going to get a good restart. First time we've seen that outside line get off to a flyer. He's going to lead them down into turn number 1. McWhorter going to lead it off in P2 as the Hornet's nest of cars continues to go on right behind Marty and Rose. They're going to get chewed up and spat out by those drivers on new tires.
Yep, both the guys on the front row got amazing starts. Everyone else, not so much. This is just, this has a recipe for disaster. A lot of stacking here. Oh, Eddie Rose gets in the wall. He has had an eventful day, to say the least. More contact there. Oh, my goodness. These guys are just... Oh, my gosh. I don't even know what to call it. We got some smoke on the back straightaway here. I mean, it's like world's ending on the racetrack. Adam Benefield, though.
Oh, here we go.
Those fresh tires. He hit pit road that last caution. You're seeing the difference right here, because he's going to take the lead. He's going to clear him with ease, and just ran the fastest lap of the day. We have not seen anybody all race long be able to run a lap faster than the 80 floor. And he has set the fastest lap multiple times throughout the day. He's just gotten faster and faster, but now the 83 has capitalized. He leads for the moment, but Lucas Hoitzma in the number 97, that Busch Ford, he wants a part of this as well.
And now, if you're Johnny Avila dropping down in the running order like a snowball thrown out of a ski lift, you gotta wonder, what is your hope for the rest of this stage. You're probably going to have to hope for another yellow to come out to try and end the misery, for lack of a better term, allow you to come down pit lane and not lose out on too terrible amount of time as a green flag pit stop. But either way, though, this is not going to work out at all for Avila. Now finds himself in P8 at the moment, still dropping down the running order. As much as he may be fast in that number 84 car, there's only so much raw speed can do. Once you have some old tires on that race car, you're going to be skidding around this track like my attempts at figure skating. Some side-by-side racing going on between Schofield and Hoytsma. That's down to 1 and 2. Hoytsma holding on to that inside line. Schofield on the outside trying to get it done in the number 47 machine. The 97 of Hoytsma. He's been sporadically quick all throughout this race, but I don't think he's been the cream of the crop, so to speak. He's been quick, but he's only been top 10, top 5 quick. I don't think he's been race-winning contending quick, at least yet.
Yeah, there's still plenty of time for him, but I totally agree. Feel like he's definitely capable of getting definitely a top 10, maybe a top 5 even. And this is definitely, like you said, not working for Johnny Avila, the 84. I don't know if we've seen him running this low all day, and out of all those guys that did stay out on old tires, which was just 4 cars, I believe, he is still the highest among those cars. So, you know, that does say something about, like you said, the raw speed that this driver has today. But, you know, when you place it up against, you know, brand new Goodyear tires, it's not going to be able to save you for long. Jonathan Delaney, who we saw has also had an eventful day. He is now right up on the rear bumper of the 97. Tried to fake him low. Now he goes to the top side, and he's going to take away the 4th running position and maybe get a run off turn 2 here to set his sights on Hunter Trull, who hits the wall just a little bit.
As you can see, these drivers experimenting with some different lines as well, trying to figure out where the grip is and where the grip certainly isn't. These drivers have certainly gone into a groove now past 100 laps, down 102 in this 250 lap long race. We also have to worry about that stage break coming up in only 19 laps time. And with that yellow during that stage break, that'll basically bring us through into the second half of this race as well. And I wonder, entering the second half, guns blazing, will we have to rule out Johnny Avila? I don't think, even with the terrible turn of luck that he finds himself in at the present moment, Wineland and Hoytsma still battle hard, hang down that start-finish straight away off into 1 and 2. I don't think we can discredit Johnny Avila in that number 84 car. He's just had such raw speed ever since the drop of the green flag that even with this major setback that he'll find at the end of stage 2, with that strategy call that just has not worked out, now running outside of the top 16, getting a move put on him by Matthew Long to dip down to 17th. I still don't think we could rule out Avila doing well in this race.
Oh, absolutely not. I don't think you could count him out at all. Contact there. I was just about to give a shout out to Jacob Simpson in the 2 car there, as he nearly got involved in something. I'm glad I held my tongue, but regardless, still a nice recovery. We saw this car spinning through the grass right to his left there not long ago. We'll take a look at what happened here. He just drives it up too high on exit, nicks the left rear of the 12, bends that 12's quarter panel in just a little bit. The 2, I don't think, is any bad off, as Jonathan Delaney continuing to put something together here on this run. You know, we're not super far out from the end of this second stage, as we pointed out just before the restart. Lap 121 will mark... a little sideways there for Delaney, but lap 121 will mark the official end of stage 2, as Michael Pratchik is on pit road for an extended amount of time. Maybe some issues there for the number 3 car. Lucas Hoytsman continues to hold seat in 6th, as Eric Wineland in the 87 car. He had a graphic up just a few laps ago about who had gained the most spots. That 87, I believe it was like over 20 spots so far. So he on the move in that Toyota Supra, as Delaney's Camaro here. Or can we still call them that? They just say Chevrolet now.
As we look at these drivers still running as fast as they possibly can. Adam Benefiel Not pulling out a big gap at the front of the field. About 3/4 of a second is a gap between himself and Jim Shoefield in P1 and P2. Has broken up a teeny tiny bit. Not seeing too much side-by-side racing going on. This is still a nose-to-tail battle involving the 87 of Eric Wineland and Lucas Hoytsma. You can see them doing the lap car heading all through 3 and 4. That's one thing to raise talking about this race. It is super important to try and tackle that lapped traffic as best as you possibly can. If you do it well, you're going to be smelling like a bed of roses. If you do it badly, you're going to be smelling like a bucket of horse manure. Trust me, I've been around enough farms to know. Jonathan Delaney having a big running wide moment, heading off through 3 and 4. Scrapes the wall, low in the 6 car. Going to get away with one there, though.
Yeah, that was a little close, but it's like to your point, the lap cars are definitely playing a factor because most of the time these lappers, it looks like they're giving these guys the bottom lane, and while that's probably preferable, it does kind of mess up your vantage point, the way, if that makes any sense, the way your sight line of sight, just how you see your corner entry, how you decide to enter it might throw you off a little bit, and I think that's what happened to Jonathan Delaney just a moment ago. He saw that lap car and he went a little bit lower than normal.
And here's Hunter Truel in the number 3 car, finds himself maybe having to fend off Jonathan Delaney in that 6 car, runs up to the wall yet again, heading through 3 and 4. Truel's put on a pretty good race as it stands at the present moment. He's been up towards the front as side by side. That's a move on Jonathan Delaney. Delaney getting that move done, I should say, on Hunter Truel to dip him back down to 4th. That's going to go on as Hoytsma and Wineland continue to go side by side right behind. That's a real intense battle going on, but Truel finds himself in 4th at the moment. Hasn't dipped outside of the top 10 really ever since the drop of the green flag. Pretty valiant effort from the driver of the number 71 car. I think a little bit farther behind, Eric Wineland in the 87 has pulled away a little bit from Lucas Hoytsma in the number 97 machine. So that looks like that fight is maybe going to cool off as they're still close to having a bit of overlap heading off through 1 and 2. Some good battles right towards the end of the second stage.
And it definitely looked like maybe even some smart racing there from the 71 of Hunter Truel. Maybe let Delaney go. Notice just how hard the 6 was driving his car and decided maybe it wasn't worth potentially getting caught up in something. Just let him go. He'll just fade back simply to 4th. Not many laps left in this opening stage. We'll have the caution, lap 121. Take a look at the 82, Cliff Mullins, nicking that bottom lane, or that apron just a little bit, trying to make his way around lap traffic. I believe that was the 35 car. But a top 15 effort for Cliff so far today. Looking on at the 28 ahead of him of Matthew Long. Lucas Hoytsma is now all over the back bumper of that white, blue, red kind of gradient 87 of Eric Wineland. In the 5th spot, this is for another point stage-wise.
And I wonder how these drivers are going to tackle the final few laps in this stage, knowing that there are stage points available. Will you try and force the issue, or are you maybe going to save up your stuff for a run towards a checkered flag? Lucas Hoytsma and the number 97 car still very close to the back of Wineland. This is going to be a fight right to the end of this stage. We'll note that Adam Benefield and Jim Shoefield now covered by about 2 seconds. Shoefield losing out on about 0.2 of a second in the span of only a couple of seconds a few moments ago, so that's not working out well for the number 47. He may fall into the crutches of Jonathan Delaney. And side by side, look at the 97, ever the opportunist, trying to get a move done down the inside. That's a big moment for Jacob Simpson in the 2 machine. That's heading down the start finish straight away, right at the same spot that he lost it earlier on. I think we may have a case of deja vu.
Yep, that's actually what I was thinking. Just see what happens. Yeah, he's up high. I don't like the looks of that. See, it bends out. It bends out, and then it just pulls you in. Almost identical, exactly like you said. Just deja vu to the earlier incident. This time was able to completely keep it off that inside wall, and we have a caution.
And we have a caution for a wreck. Let's see what in the world happened here. It's another yellow coming out right toward the end of the stage. So that is going to just about end it unless we have a very quick restart. Yeah, it may have been the 06 of Boston Wheeler. Let's take a look at this. Heading his way out of 3 and 4, looks clean through there. He may have had some sort of moment. He's had to tow back to pit lanes. I believe it is the 06. Heading off through 1 and 2 now. Still looking good. Arcing back. Maybe a bad exit. Potentially a bad exit. Got that lap call right in front. Oh, no. That is ugly.
Oh, what on earth?
Not sure who that lapped car was here involved in all
like
this.
Maybe the 49. Yes, the 49 car. That doesn't look. I'm not, here to. Yeah, we'll take another look at that. I'm not here to point fingers, but I don't think that looked all too well there, Ron.
Yeah, may need to take a look at some more angles of that. For now, though, we got pit stops at the end of this second stage. Adam Benefield leading them down pit lane, the 6. You can see him taking that number 1 pit stall, run a little bit long into his box, but his crew's still going to service that number 6 car either way. Who's going to be the first to exit out of pit lane is a real question that I got. These drivers coming in for yet more tires. Up on the jacks is the 6, and look at that, out and away. That is a very good stop. That right there is the 83. That's going to work well for Benefield. He will continue to hold on to the race lead. Jonathan Delaney, again, good in all of that. He's going to exit out in P3. Jim Shoefield going to split the 2 in second. That's going to work out rather well in that cycle of pit stops. One driver who got the short end of the stick, maybe going to be Lucas Hoytsma. He dropped back down a little bit. Eric Wineland made up some spots. He finds himself in 4th at the present moment, so well done through that pit cycle. Jumping in front of Hunter Trill, as here's the moment involving the 06, I believe, unless I'm very much mistaken. That's the 49 right 49 in tow. Machine, so let's see this.
So the 06 is going to come off turn 2. 49 very slow. And tries to go low. I just don't know. I mean, the 06 approached him so fast. Part of me wants to give him the benefit of the doubt and say he pulled left thinking maybe he was going to go high. And, that's why that happened. But, some of these angles have just looked a tad strange, I suppose, for the 49 car. Let's see. And let's see if we can see the wheels turn to the left at all, maybe. Let's see. Let's just go ahead and roll it here. Let's see, right there. I think they just meet at a bad point. I don't want to say that was intentional at all, but regardless, we're doubled up. We're going to turn them loose again, and I believe our second stage is in the books.
Yep, stage 2 in the books. The final stage of this 250-lap long race now underway. Benefield got off to a flyer in the number 83 car. I wonder how it's going to shake out right behind. Delaney slipping up to second. Shoefield and Truel side by side. That's going to be a fight of the ages for those drivers trying to battle for third. And look at that. Oh, that is mega sideways for the number 47. That right there was Shoefield. Mega wiggly heading down that back straightaway. Call Mr. Jello.
Your car you're going to want to keep your eye on this run, though, is that lime green one way back there of Johnny Avila trying to fight his way up. Wait, he's going to have a crash right up. 3 cars up in the wall in 1 and 2, and more going to pile in trying to avoid it. Think they were all able to keep it clean, but we're immediately under another caution. Probably the quickest caution we've seen right after another today. We're going to pull up this replay, see what happens. Happened right to the outside of the 84. See deep in the 00 right there. That's going to be the white, blue, and green car on the top lane. Just didn't hit that angle right on the corner entry. The 46-73 also involved in a 73, one we've seen kind of in the mix today. So some damage there, and this won't change all too much, I don't think. The 83, I think, was going to fake it to pit road, but what a launch that he was able to get on that restart. And if it had stayed green, would have been even more interesting to see where that went. But I still think the one to watch is going to be that 83 of Johnny Avila. I just don't see how you're going to hold him back for too long, but we'll see how he deals with traffic once we get back green. What are your takeaways kind of so far while we have a second run from what we've seen today? Obviously, that outside wall has kind of caused maybe more issues than we would have even thought to discuss pre-race.
I will say one thing that's speaking out to me as a point you raised a couple of moments ago, talking about the number 84 of Johnny Avila. He got a small little piece of that action. I think he had maybe, but at worst, there's a small tweak to the front of that race car, not to the suspension, but to the bodywork. So there we go. That's good enough for how that wall is absolutely. I mean, honestly, from what I've seen thus far, it's Okay, so I'm going to draw an apples to broccoli comparison here and say that I'm a big IndyCar guy in real life and in iRacing. And if anyone's seen the exits of Indy, you know that the safer barrier kind of ends and it slowly merges off into just being a concrete wall. I feel like the transitions here are a bit abrupt, and it's at the worst possible time because these drivers clip the rear quarter panel and it gets them a little bit wiggly. And in the process of that, instead of just like it moves the front end like 2 feet over to the other side and they hit the wall, it snaps them back by about 5, and then in the process of that, there's nothing you could do. All the Las Vegas casino showcase magic in the world cannot save one of these race cars once they clip some of the barriers. We've seen that a lot throughout this race, but I think I was going to raise a point talking about the 84 car. As much as he has some damage, we are going to be keeping tabs on him a lot, but I think as these drivers have hit the front, they've gone into their own comfort zones as well, so I don't think it's going to be as done of a deal for that 84 car as it may have been in the early stages. As we see,
our producer really likes this ride right here. The 93 is definitely winning best in show in the eyes of our producer, I think. But we're going to turn this pace car loose here. We're going to have 124 laps to go when they hit the line. Here we go.
Past the halfway mark, and the green flag is back at yet again. Another good restart from Adam Benefield. The 0-0 having a big moment a little bit farther in the back of the pack. But at the front of the field, Benefield is leading a train. Truel and Delaney side by side for P2 and P3. That's going to be a heads-up fight. Truel put on a mighty move to get that job done to slip his way up into second. Some side-by-side racing going on all throughout this field. Benefield, he's going to feel the pressure from Truel. That 71 car has been quick. He hasn't really made the moves, though. But now he's going to go for it down the inside into 1 and 2. What a Truel jump up to the lead.
Boy, he just threw that car into turn 1, and I don't even know if he needed to, but he has got the lead. Hunter Truel to the top. Something that he doesn't want to hear, though. And there he is, making his move into the top 10. Now 9th is Johnny Avila. The 84 car, there he is, lime green machine. Working on, I believe, Noah Woods. Yep, Noah Woods in the 68 for 9th. So that's still side-by-side for 9th. He doesn't have it yet. But, I mean, we still got over 100 laps left. And you're asking for, what, 8 cars to hold him at bay. A guy that has been so fast all day. It's just, that's a tall task. As we just have a new fastest lap of the race, though, the 73 of Joseph McWhorter, who I believe was just involved in that accident, the last caution. Yep,
there we go. There is the number 73 of McWhorter. Run a little bit farther at the present moment, 2 laps down. So that's not going to be anything that helps him out too much when it comes to position. But hey, flexing his muscles and showing that he's got the pace. I think despite the fact that he is a little bit farther back in the field, may have an extra point that goes to him. But either way, it proves a point that I raised a little bit earlier on, talking about the number 84 of Johnny Avila, who, by the way, now finds himself in 9th. You may be able to see him a little bit farther in the back. There he is in that snot green car, the number 84, involved in this camera shot. There he is right there, trying to get moved on Nolan Hodgson, heading off through 1 and 2. The point I raised earlier on, though, talking about the fact that it may not be as slam dunk of a deal as it was earlier on for Johnny Avila. In the earlier stages, when he was at the front, aka stage 1, he was quick. There was really nobody that could challenge him. But as this track has evolved and these drivers have gotten a bit more comfortable with their race cars, I feel like Johnny Avila is not alone when it comes to the fast car brigade.
Oh, absolutely not. You know, it's allowed these guys, like you said, these runs without him at the front. Everyone's gotten, more used to hitting their marks. Their throttle input, brake input, the wheel, everything about what goes into getting around this place, keeping it off those exit corner walls. It's a tall challenge for him, but even recovering to 7th would be great, but it's still going to be devastating, without a win for the 84. Hunter Truel, who just threw a dive bomb into turn 1 for the lead not many laps ago, is still holding strong in it by about just under 0.4 of a second over Adam Benefield, who was at the head of the field, I believe, our stage 2 winner there, I think.
Still running good at the present moment. Benefield was our winner at the end of stage 2 in that number 83 car. Finds himself in second at the present moment. He's not allowing Hunter Truel to get away, which I think is a main development to race. I believe, unless I am very much mistaken, that is the 04 of John Kelly, who's blinking in and out of existence there. So yet again, another racer hitting 88 miles an hour, this time getting sent back in time in the Neolithic period. Anyone gets that, Back to the Future reference, say it in the YouTube chat. But right now, he's running an 8th at the present moment. Think he may have just gotten his aeronet issues squared away. Some of these drivers who have some of these blinking in and out problems probably not happy about the brand new iRacing feature, where if they see that your connection is too bad, they're just going to yoink you out of the session. I've seen that happen thus far ever since the brand new season build of iRacing, as that's some close quarter stuff involving Wineland.
Right in front of Avila as well. Was the sideways show field of 47, got very loose on corner exit, was able to gather it up. But we're kind of getting to that point in this run where, you know, maybe guys are going to start pushing just a little bit tighter on that envelope and may send it just a little bit too hard, get into that wall, go around. And that's what you have to be careful about if you're this 84 car. You know you have a car that's capable of getting up to the front and leading laps, maybe winning the race. But you've got 6 guys in front of you here that could easily make a mistake and collect you in it. We've seen plenty of just innocent bystanders get taken out in incidents today, as is. We're down to 100, I believe, 112 now laps to go. We got some dirt kicked up onto the track. And this is just a mess right here. This is a gaggle of cars.
And the gaggle is going to get a bit more hectic as down the inside into 3 and 4 is Johnny Avila trying to get that move done on Jim Shoefield to slip his way up into the top 6. Looks like he's going to get that move done with authority. As much as I've been saying that may not be a slam dunk for Johnny Avila, he's still got a quick race car under him. That car is back up towards the front, where it felt like it should be ever since the drop of the green flag. Anyone else see the little Spider-Man? I have not seen that on the back of the number 47 car, so maybe my prescription glasses are just a bit out of date. I got these prescriptions a year ago, so maybe I need to go get myself an eye exam. I have not seen that on the back of the number 47, so thank you, Howie, for saying that. We're maybe gotta try and see if we can see this from the front of John Kelly's car. Slowly reeling him in, and come on, Kelly, kick on the nitrous. Kick on the. I want to see the Spider-Man on the back of the number 47. Kick on that nitrous. Come on.
I'm sure we'll get a glimpse of it here before day's end. 110 laps to go. Track kind of getting a little more shade on it, somewhat. Definitely not right here down the backstretch though. 84 still trying to carve his way up through this field. Now he's kind of taking that top side line. It's a risky one, but if it works, it works. He's going to get to that outside quarter panel of the 87 of Wineland. And here comes the 84 into P5 now.
And it is a nice little graphic. I haven't seen this one before, but I really like it. Weather conditions, current iRacing track temperature, 103 degrees Fahrenheit. That is rather warm. 82 Fahrenheit is your current ambient temperature, which maybe it's just me being as out of shape as I am, considering I retired from my own karting career about 2 years ago up to this point. 82 degrees would be right about the same temperature where I start to melt. But 103 degrees Fahrenheit, couple that with a track which is basically a giant Goodyear cheese grater, that's not going to be too well for these tires. So I think that could be part of the reason why we are seeing such a big pace disparity between some of the drivers who have stayed out on older tires.
We do have a disqualification as well. Jeff Pay, the 49. This is once you hit 17 incident points here in this league, you are done. And here is the moment I believe it happened for the 49. Just gets in and let's see. Let's see here.
Oh wow! Okay, so yeah,
this is not live. There we go. It's not live speed. He wasn't that quick, I promise. And here we go.
Bang,
just drove it too hard there, and wham! abducted. Just like you
Yep.
said, these UFOs out here, man, they're after it. With this place sitting as long as it has, something's bound to be living here.
Alrighty, so that's, I had to take a sip of water before I could do that. Otherwise,
No.
my vocal cords probably would have completely given out. Hopefully, the Discord noise suppression did not get me at the present moment. That was not a harmonica, mind you. If anyone tuned into Wednesday night here on Maconi Entertainment and saw week 3 of what we are calling Jeff Maconi's boot camp as the boss man prepares for his ARCA debut in a couple of weeks, there were some harmonica-related escapades for that broadcast. But that was all natural right there. I'm not sure whether that is a good skill, a bad skill, or just a skill that should always be kept in my back pocket and never brought up. Anyways.
I think it's in the eyes of the beholder there. So, Adam Benefield continuing to lead us here. Hunter Truhl in second, 4/10 behind. So that lead has changed. As Avila's now P4. The 84 still on the move. He has cleared Jonathan Delaney, who was pretty strong at the start of this run. Hasn't really necessarily faded. But gosh, he's really trying to get there. Oh, man, we got a caution.
The caution flag coming out this time with 102 laps left to go. Decent enough into this final stage of the race where we're probably eyeballing some pit stops during this. You can see some smoke in the air. That's heading through 1 and 2. So I have a feeling we may have had another driver have a moment heading off through there. Here's Ben Ron in the number 33 car on the inside. Heading off. Oh,
goodness. Didn't we see him have an issue earlier where the car went right? Was that someone else? I know that.
I think it may have been him, yeah.
I think because it kind of looked like as if a tire had gone out. That looked almost identical. That was. Let's see here. Watch the wheel. Clearly to the left.
Oh.
That looks that. Yeah, that looks like hardware to me. That looks like just something wrong with his sim rig physically. The wheel was clearly to the left.
Yeah, the wheel was turned off into the corner, so unless he got just a terrible bout of understeer, from the first outboard shot, it looked like there was a crap ton of smoke coming off that car, so I wonder if his sim rig failed in reference to it just jamming the brakes on. Let's see, yeah, you can see that.
Absolutely.
In the world.
It looked like
I think that may have been it. Yeah, potentially. We got pit stops going on at the present moment. Rory Collins in the number 39 car, who I don't think we've talked about at all throughout this race, is your current race leader. I think he stayed out in the midst of all of this. That or there's some there's a pace car merging in with him. So I think there's chicanery.
This is going to throw a wrench into things.
Yeah, staying out is Rory Collins, so this is not through some sort of wave around incidents of any kind. He's just naturally decided to stay out. Lucas Hoytsma going to be the leading driver of the cars that decide to come down pit lane, so that's going to be a big shakeup at the front. Benefield not having a very good run through the pits. I wonder if Hoytsma only took 2 tires with 100 laps left to go. I don't hate that call from Hoytsma to maybe just gamble on another yellow coming out in the not too far off future.
Yeah, Vila's P5 here. What has happened to Hunter Truhl? Oh, P6 there. So he might have had a rough go at pit road as well. This is it's going to be interesting though for Rory Collins. You know, you see right up on the graphic top left of your screen, he last pit on lap 119. Everybody else just came down pit road, and you'd have to assume all have at least 4 tires. That are brand spanking new on these race cars. I just don't see this panning out.
Oh, okay. So we're hearing from our producer, Howie, that Rory Collins thought he was going to be getting a wave around, despite the fact he is on the lead lap. So that's the reason why he stayed out. They are going to be delaying the green flag potentially here. Yeah, you can see the lights back on that Mustang pace car. So this is rather bizarre.
Maybe
extended yellow. It's not Mustang. That's just generic sedan already. So
I thought that maybe they delayed it so he could get to pit road because maybe he said he wanted to, but he still stayed out. So this is interesting. I mean, you know, forgetting that you're on the lead lap, sort of. Tyler Reddick forgetting it's the last lap-esque at Homestead in a way. I don't know. I don't know how this one. I don't see how this could pan out well. should he decide to stay on the racetrack. That's just me being blunt. These guys that are starting on the outside are probably a heck of a lot more comfortable and confident than Adam Benefiel and those on the inside lane. So, I don't know, Ron. We'll just have to see here.
And this is very odd timing for me to say this. I can never get over that number 93 car. You'll just see him there on the inside. Not rosing it too much as we saw on the back straight. It looked like his car was heavenly. It looked like it had just been brought in by an angel playing on a harp.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what to say at the present moment. The pace car making that hard turn to come back down pit lane. The green flag gonna come back at running very late. That 39 car, so sideways, getting off to a very slow restart. That's gonna stack him up badly. Hoytsma got off to a dream restart. Gonna enjoy that gap now that Rory Collins is dropping down the running order. This is not looking good for him at all. This got great. Another stack up down into 3 and 4. Some side-by-side racing going on right in front, but holy cow. Avila on the outside line. Holy cow. That 84 car is bringing the Thunders into pit crash.
Like that.
3 and 4.
28's around. Big damage there to that car. We saw the 12. I really don't think that many people were in that wreck, but it looked like that could have taken out half the field. Let's take a look what happened here. Watch the 28 and watch the 12. The 28 of Matthew Long. Watch the 12 up there. You see Rory up there at 39 already kind of stacking them. Oh, tightened up. Yep, and damn. Just hard hit. That 12 is going to be probably with, I would assume, the worst of it. And like I said, it was no diss to Rory Collins at all. That I just did not see a way that him staying on the racetrack could end well for anybody. And evidently, I think there's, 2 or 3 people here, maybe Rory himself, that would agree with me at this point in time. So this is a restart, and Rory, everyone else, just brand new tires. And the 71 gets kind of jacked up here because they stack up. They nearly wrecked it right there. I don't know how they didn't. And then it's just like he's sitting still in 1 and 2. See, the 47 got forced him in the wall. There's that 93 we talked about. Then all these guys are stuck behind him. The 87 decides to split him 3 wide, which didn't do him any favors. And they have disqualified Rory Collins.
I think that'll probably be for incident point violation. 17x is a limit for these drivers, and flashing.
Correction.
Flashing. I think he actually may still be in this race, and
he's still in it.
Yeah, so no harm, no foul for him, but certainly with that restart and some of the being and banging, these drivers continuing to accumulate those incident points. 94 laps left to go, and I was going to race talking about some of the other disqualifications we have seen up to this point, giving flashbacks to both myself and Howie on the production truck of the full-length Cup Challenge at Martinsville at the beginning of this month. Actually, no, it was the end of last month. I think trying to remember, I think we had 30 yellows in that race and had like a third of the field disqualified at the end of it. So those incident points, 17x for a 250 lap long, multi-hour long race. That 17x will go by in the blink of an eye. You pick up like 8x on one singular restart. That's really messy. And then there you go. A lot of those instant points already taken away.
Let's see. Let's take a look at this 47 here. Let's see this. Kind of faintly see old Spidey down there on the bottom left, old Peter Parker. Let's take a look here. There he is, hanging from the rear tail light. Gotta love it. Oh, and we have broken physics, but it's okay. It was worth it for Spidey. And we're gonna be coming to the green with. We're gonna be going green. We'll have 92 laps to go when we take the green flag. And this is going to be a restart, big restart in this race. Avila on the outside, flown up here. Hoytsma on the inside. See who gets the best of who here.
Yeah, are we going to have another driver stack it up on this restart? No, it looks like they're going to be somewhat evenly, I say somewhat evenly matched. Avila, he's dropping down quite a lot on that restart. And hey, Avila, You can't spell Anvil without a Villa, and he dropped down a lot on that restart. Still running in P2, but stacking up a lot and allowing Huisman to extend a little bit of a gap, heading through 3 and 4. But here we go. Avila is back and back with a vengeance in that number 84 car. He's going to try and get a move done down the inside into 1 and 2. This is going to be a drag race between these two drivers. Looking to stamp and setting it on the inside is the 84 of Avila. Been a while since he's been in the race sleep, but there he is. He is back, and he's back to win it.
Like I said, we talked about it not super long ago. You can't count him out at any point. It's not over till it's over, and I mean, it's still not over. But he is back where he's comfortable and where he spent most of the early portions of this race, and that's in first. Benefield will do what he can as Hoyts kind of fading back here, and Jonathan Delaney's going to be able to take the third spot away.
And I just looked at my screen and saw Corey Deal exiting the corner, and that car is like white as a ghost coming out of 1 and 2. That is always absolutely hilarious.
Let's get a camera on this thing here.
This is very, very good at the present moment. There you can see that's a just absolutely brilliant scheme that he's got on that race car. We'll raise, though, that we are getting to the end of this race. 88 laps now left to go for Johnny Avila at the race lead. Still plenty of time for things to happen. Could see some yellows, could see more than one caution. Definitely a lot of stuff left to be decided between now and the checkered flag. But one thing that will be decided at the checkered flag, not only the race winner and someone potentially locking their way into the playoffs here from the Friday Night Lights Full-Length Cup Challenge Series here on Maconi Entertainment. Want to raise that, I raised this earlier on, the top 4 finishers in this race will be contending for $100 in 1 week's time in this series' version of Dash for Cash. As it stands at the moment, it would be Avila, Benefield, Truel, and Jonathan Delaney looking to run it. So this is going to be really, really good. It's a 5-week race, and this is going to be very good. We're going to be keeping you up to date about the Dash for Cash contenders because it will change from week to week between now and the end of this in a couple of weeks' time. 5 weeks with $100 up on offer for every single one of them. So these drivers look to get a pretty nice payday midway through this season. Not really focus too much on the playoffs at the present moment, but certainly focus on a pretty nice payday at the end of these races as well. There you can see top 4 for each race qualify for next week's Dash for Cash, and we are going to be keeping tabs on that throughout the next few weeks here on Maconi Entertainment. Some racing going on still throughout this field, but it has definitely settled down a bit.
Yeah, definitely calmed down a little bit. We saw a little bit of a moment with the 87 of Eric Wineland there just a moment ago. Got loose on corner exit, but everything settled down for the most part. Mark Paget, the 02, haven't talked about him a lot today. Or is there not the 02?
Mark Paget, yeah, they're in the 02 car there. You can see
there he is. And the 06 right there of Wheeler, talked about him a lot this race. He's had some pretty unfortunate luck. He is not on the lead lap. How about a shout out for Austin Evie in the 03 car? That's the Budweiser Ford right there, running in the top 10. Haven't talked about him much today. Noah Woods ahead of him in the 8th spot. Mason Lowry's cracked the top 10. A lot of guys trying to get a solid finish here when it matters most.
Yeah, it doesn't matter about how things shook out for you in the first 240 laps. If you're there for the final 10, that's all that matters at the end of the day. So I think these drivers maybe set themselves up rather well. And we will raise this talking about the tires that these drivers have. 7 sets allotted to each of them. And who knows, may end up seeing some drivers have a bit more tires than some of the others come time for the end of this race. As side-by-side going on involving the 2 and the 47.
I mean, this is definitely a bit of a hornet's nest here. This is tight racing here, and this is just for up to the 4th position right here. You could throw a blanket over 4th all the way back to, I believe, 9th, 10th. This is wild right here. It's all the way back to 9th. You got the 03 at the back of this little pack, and look at all of them. All of them just trying to take a different lane than the others, just trying to keep a little bit of air on their nose, and that's how you can easily cause an accident, but these guys are doing an awesome job putting on a show for us here on Friday night on Maconi Entertainment. Top 3 still Avila, Benefield, Tool. They are the ones off camera. There they go. And then the rest of the top 10. Corey Deal, the kind of ghost car we've mentioned a few times today, in 14th. Another driver I don't feel like we talked about too much would be Tanner Marty, Jeremy Clapper-Newell. They are up in the top 15 now as well.
Still looking at these drivers continuing to go side by side with 79 coming to 78 laps left to go here. Shane, I gotta start wondering about the possibility of a yellow coming out between now and the end of this race. We can never rule that out. We do have those green-white checkers that may come into effect later on in this event, but this has been a race where we haven't seen too long of a green flag run. I think the longest we've probably had is about 60, so I think the law of averages standing, we will probably have another yellow between now and the end of this race.
I would imagine it's definitely not out of the question. You know, the more laps we run, the more, you know, we talked about it in our earlier run, the more laps these guys run, they're going to start pushing. See, the 47 almost just did it there. These guys are going to start pushing just a little bit harder, might step over the edge and, you know, nick that wall that we've seen cause so many accidents. That's the 47 of Schofield. He's definitely come close to it the last few times around. So it's not out of the question, and, you know, if we get one, it's not to say that would be the last one either. That's just the way that this race has been, very unpredictable. Eddie Rose, who has had a heck of a day, to put it lightly so far, he is now 15th position. So honestly, you could consider that. I mean, look at this. This is these are their pit stop laps. So Eddie Rose, the freshest of the batch on track. Let's see the 93 of Corey Deal. That's the one that we have been referring. Look at this thing. Oh my goodness. Jacob Simpson, who was spun twice, is P4.
Yeah, Simpson on the hard charge in that number 2 car. Fences up in P4 at the moment. Maybe going to have to withstand a challenge from the likes of Shoefield and Jonathan Delaney right behind. Delaney actually involved in a battle with himself and Noah Woods heading off through 1 and 2 a couple of moments ago. There you can see those racers continuing to fight hard. This is some good battle that we got going on all throughout this field. And I do want to say, talking about Rose, funny how the world works. Earlier on in this race, he came into the pits on lap 12 and spent the end of that stage on the exact same set of tires to the point where he was mega sideways coming out of every single corner. But now the shoe is on the other foot. Now he's got the better tires in the rest of the field. As we take a look and see this moment involving Brian Wortman in the number 35. Let's see. Oh, it's the wall again.
Yep. A little bit of just kind of got that wall where the safer barrier ends and the concrete begins. Was able to save it though, and that has not been the case for everybody. Let's take a look at second now, Adam Benefield. It's not a huge gap to Avila, to be honest.
Yeah, these drivers, as much as they aren't battling too hard, they are definitely vacuum sealed together. I mean, the biggest gap that we have in this pack that we've got on screen is probably, what, like a car length and a half? It is still so close for these racers.
Still very tight quarters, and that makes it, you know, just even more likely that someone could step over the edge and you know, bring out that caution that you mentioned. Because if you jinx it, I'll go down with you. So I'll throw my hat in the ring here. As well, we almost got it. The 03 of Austin Evie made a little bit of contact there with, I believe, the 87 of Eric Wineland. Just brief contact. They're able to keep it going, but that did allow Mark Paget to get by Austin Evie for the 9th position, and now Paget gonna look for 8 and slide it in deep to try to take it. See if he can get a big enough run here on corner exit to do so. It looks like he's got it. He does. Going into turn 1, that's gonna move Mark Paget up to 8. And, you know, talking about the a little bit of contact there. The 03 got into the back of the 08. He's able to keep it straight. The 06, not a factor on the lead lap, but still kind of get involved. They got marbles flying everywhere. Talked about this being a cheese grater for these tires. Let's take another look at this really quick. The 03, oh my goodness. The 87 got loose a couple times, and he hit him, I think, both times.
Yeah, definitely a big checkup for those two heading off through 1 and 2. The 87 Crower credits due to Eric Weiland keep that car going in a straight line, considering how big of a whack it was from the front of the 03 of Austin Evie. So well held to Wineland, but that is still going to be a big moment for sure. Those drivers occupying the final spots inside of the top 10 is scraping the wall on entry into 1 and 2. It's Jacob Simpson, that 2 car. He's been all over the place ever since the drop of the green flag. He's has moments mainly coming out of 3 and 4, but he is maybe potentially struggling, acting as a bit of a rolling roadblock potentially to Hunter Truel. You can see Truel maybe trying to get this move done with authority and with ease. You can see a little bit farther up the road the likes of Johnny Avila and Adam Benefiel. They are starting to pull away from these drivers, so I wonder if Hunter Truel is thinking, hey, I need to make hay while the sun is shining with 66 laps left to go. As that's a puff of smoke hanging down the back straightaway. Someone just had a moment. We stay green, but either way, Hunter Truel may be looking to get that move done on Simpson sooner rather than later.
John K. Kelly had a bit of a issue here on corner exit. There's the wall again, and oh gosh, that is a big whack into the inside wall, and kind of saw him there briefly limping around the apron. We do stay green. This is another shot at it. This is a look from the outside of the car. Wall creeps up and just kind of throws them back out. It pulls them in, and then it just launches them back to the left. So heavy damage to that car, as now this is live on board with Benefiel trying to mount a charge here to Avila. And you talked about how there's not really a huge gap between anybody. Well, this is certainly not a huge gap. This is just a tenth in, barely that. The 83 is throwing all he can. We're down to 63 laps to go. We talk about there being the potential caution if it does come out. I think we're well into the window where we would not be shocked to see it. But if this does go green, it's going to be interesting to see if the 84 can hold off the 83. And with lap times like that, doesn't matter how much faster you are. If you're faster, you're faster. Eventually, you might just get by him. I don't know if the 84 can hold it off at him for 62 laps.
Yeah, it's practically nothing between those two race cars. You can see it's a matter of feet separating them coming out of some of these corners. I think as much as Avila may have the legs hang down the straightaways, Benefiel's just getting those good exits. That 83 car, though, he's going to have to find a little bit more muster in that 83 machine to get a move done on the number 84. Let's see, though. Still a lot of time left to go in this race. 61 laps left to go in this race. Avila, Benefiel in a pack all of their own. Jacob Simpson is about 1.5 seconds behind Avila, and pretty much the same gap to himself and Benefiel. So that's... It's not really a factor as it stands presently. So it is going to be Avila and Benefiel in a dogfight for the next couple of laps. Benefiel looking to get that move done, but the real question is, where will he be able to wheel past the 84?
It's oh my gosh, it's just going to be very interesting to see, because Adam is doing a great job of putting pressure. Oh gosh, drove it in really hard there to the back bumper of the 84. And there it is. Here's our caution. So
there is the caution.
This might have been the saving grace for the 84. They got the 82 with some front end damage, back end damage. That thing is not necessarily crab walking, maybe just sliding here. See Mullins here. See Delaney right there. Watch corner exit. I mean the wall again, but a little bit of a different. Oh goodness! Wow! Oh, and that was the 39 as well of Rory we saw earlier.
Yeah, the 39 getting a huge hit. Let's take a look at this. So we're re-rocking it a little bit at the start of the lap. You can see the 39 and the 82. That's Rory and Mullins side by side heading off through there. And 39 runs a little bit wide. Doesn't even hit the wall. I think just in the act of coming down off the barrier. The 82 getting clipped in the midst of all of that. The 39, though, got hit. Oh my God, that was a huge one. That right there hitting the back of him was a number 42. So you could see those three cars getting cleaned out in that incident. Tough moment for the 42. I wonder, that was Mason Lowery. I wonder if he had any say in the matter to avoid that number 39. I think also the other 39 either just decided to call it a day, or actually, no, he's still at there, just picked up an end of the line penalty. So I think he just blinked in and out of existence as these drivers exit pit lane. Benefiel going to be the beneficiary of that pit cycle, going to find himself in third at the present moment, but Johnny Avila actually jumping in front.
Yeah, and we, I don't know. The 87 has elected to stay out on the racetrack here of Eric Wineland. Just not sure about this one. We saw, I mean, look at those last pit laps. That is the number to the right of their intervals on your ticker there. It looks kind of similar, maybe not as bad as to what Rory had against the field on an earlier restart, but it definitely doesn't stack up too well, Ron.
Yeah, no, that is at Wineland, if he can manage this and there's a yellow that comes out immediately afterwards, that would be great. The only downside to that is, based off what we've seen thus far in this race, the driver on the older tires is usually the reason for the yellow instead the beneficiary as a result of that preceding yellow. So let's see. There's still a lot that can happen. Wineland, very fast driver in that number 87 machine, and he is going to be in that catbird seat, leading this field back to green in a couple of moments' time. But he's got some very fast and hungry competitors looking to stake their claim on this race and try and grab either their first win of the season or their far from first win of this season. Let's just wait and see. The green flag is back out. Wineland not getting off to a terrible restart in that number 87 car. Is a black flag for Michael Deach. That's not going to be too good for him, but Wineland not getting off to the worst restart I've seen. He's still going to be a little bit slow on that outside line, losing out to Avila, who retakes the lead, and Benefield jumps into second. Jacob Simpson now trying to get a move done on him, but Wineland not getting hung out to dry too badly in this first lap, albeit he's gone from first to fifth, and maybe losing out on some even more spots.
Yeah, we'll just have to see how this kind of cycles out for him. You know, I definitely don't hate the gamble, but I would have definitely understood a little more if we were a little later into the race. You know, we're coming to 54 laps to go this time by, and he's still going to be fading, although gracefully. Just, you know, it's just not the direction that he wanted to be headed. But Avila has taken the lead back to 83. Benefiel stays second. Jacob Simpson is third. The situation here for Benefield, though, is right before that caution came out, he was honestly kind of in the catbird seat, right where he wanted to be. He was the 46. I believe we're all good. I believe everybody's all right. We'll keep going. But the 83 Benefield, before that last caution, you know, he was kind of in the right place to be. You know, he looked like he was going to be able to take advantage of the 84's older tires and maybe get around him and steal a win. Now he's got to kind of wind it back up again, and we got a caution.
The yellow coming at 53 laps left to go, just a tick under 200 into this race, and let's see the reason for the caution.
Let's see. You see Wheeler there up top, 28. Oh, that's not quite clear there.
Yeah,
and
not clear at all.
Lick. That's the 17 machine.
Those two cars threading the needle in the midst of those two cars spinning off and losing control, hanging down the back turn over the stones from those two racers.
That'd be the 12 and the 00. They were able to just go right up through that. See one taker back there to pit road. Not sure if that was a lead lap car or not. Here comes a 99. Carlos gonna bring it in. We'll see if this amounts to anything. I don't know if we ran enough laps there for this to really do a whole lot, but I guess you never know. And I will say another thing is the 84 Johnny Villa probably enjoys this caution. It's less laps that he has to, burn tires under green, so it probably helps him out a little bit further.
Yeah, I gotta wonder how this is all going to work out. There's an end-of-the-line penalty for John Kelly in the 04. But yeah, in the midst of all of this, with this preceding yellow, I said this in reference to the 87 of Eric Wineland. If there was a yellow that came out within about 10 laps, maybe a tick over that, if you are like not dropping down like a rock, if you find yourself getting a caution in that sweet spot, you're going to be smelling like a rose. Look at these drivers. That's pretty good. Wineland staying out, though, yet again. Maybe just rolling the dice yet again and hoping there's another yellow that comes out. Cautions breed cautions. I have read that in a fortune cookie before, but I don't know. I am not a fan of this call from Wineland to stay out yet again.
I can't say I fully understand it because, he's been fully capable of keeping pace and running up in the top 10-ish, I want to say, for majority of this race. So, pitting, I feel like, would have been a big advantage for them, especially given, how that last restart went. Just kind of realized that, wasn't the right call and, bring it in this time and, get some fresh tires on it. But, you see there the stint length since these guys have hit pit road, just 8 laps for majority, except for those that just hit pit road. And then you've got 50 laps since Wineland has been to pit road. So we'll see how it pans out. We're going to crack under 50 laps to go for this restart, 49 laps to settle it at Rockingham.
Yeah, and will this be the final restart? Only time will tell. The green flag back out of Villa, gang off to a flyer on that outside line, cut back down to the inside Benefield, leading that inside line before that moment from Villa on the outside. That's a number 71 of Hunter Trull, looking to make hay while the sun is shining, and that's one thing to race. The positioning of the sun is certainly changing here. These cars going to be running completely different than they did in the earlier stages, but at the front, it's a Villa in front of Trull. Trull cutting down to the inside line, though, down that start-finish straightaway, off into 1 and 2. The 71 car gonna book it and get that move done.
Hunter Trull, just a similar move that we saw earlier, just threw it into 1. It stuck, got the lead. He did it again right there. Jonathan Delaney has just cleared himself into the 3rd spot. You've got Schofield up on the top there, that orange and kind of gray 47 Toyota running the top. He's trying to get 4th from Benefield, who just has not started this run the way he liked. I'll tell you who did is Hunter Trull. He's actually gapping Avila a little bit here. And we just had a new fastest lap of the race, Eddie Rose, who's actually in the 12th spot, had an eventful day, and now the quickest lap of the race.
Yeah, Eddie Rose's race here at Rockingham shows you that even when you're down, you're not even out of it. Rose started off the race as that driver who was leading those cars that came into the pits on lap 12 during the very first yellow of this 250-lap-long race. Ever since then, he's gotten involved in some incidents. He's made his way back up to the front, finds himself in 12th at the moment, so he's not running at the north end of the field per se, but still running good. Matthew Boston Wheeler in the 06 car, he's had a rough run. Look at that. That was a huge moment. The 47, that right there was Jim Schofield having a huge moment coming out of turn 4.
Spider-Man was hanging on for that one. He's had a few of those moments during this race. We'll take another quick look at it here. Coming off turn 4, he's just going to have that wall creep in, and he kind of caught it at, there's not really a great place to catch it, but he caught it at a spot where it didn't quite hook him to the left as bad as the others. And we got a battle for the lead. Avila's going to take it away from Trull with 44 laps to go, now about 43 and a half. Delaney's still looking on from 3rd. Trull's going to have to wind it up and try to get by Avila, but it's been such a tall task for anyone and not really seen anyone be able to step up to the challenge and complete that. Jacob Simpson bouncing off the wall, still bouncing off the wall.
Yeah, still some close quarter stuff all throughout this field. Truhl may be deciding that now is the time to pounce. I wonder if he will try and force this issue in the number 71 car. I feel like he has no choice because Lucas Hoytsma, he's got maybe trying to force this issue before Truhl does. So I think if you are the number 71 car, you need to risk it for the biscuit. But Hoytsma getting that move done to jump his way up into P2. Right as I was saying that number 97 car was starting to get a bit more adventurous. There he goes, getting that move done to jump his way up into second. Avila has now got the number 97 of Lucas Hoytsma running right behind, and flashback to 1 week ago at Bristol. Hoytsma crossed that start-finish line in first, but it wasn't him backing that car into victory lane. He picked up a penalty for a restart violation. He's running with a lot of flame as Delaney getting a move done. This has not been a good series of laps for Hunter Truhl. Was at one point running in P2, was at 1 point, second tries to charm with that pronunciation. Was in P2 not terribly long ago, now dropping down to fourth, and I have a feeling unless he changes something up, he may lose out some more spots.
Yeah, the 83 of Benefield has definitely been a quick one. He's going to be a tall challenge for Truhl to hold off if he continues to fade like he has been. Jonathan Delaney has driven the heck out of that race car all day long. And here is Eddie Rose still on the charge. Beat up fenders, quarter panels, bumpers, bent in. Doesn't matter. He is P12 right now and looking for more on that kind of Dale Jr.-esque 03 of Austin Evie. Here it's on board with Justin Delaney. See that corner entry speed is about 150, and he is right here with these guys. And we talked about Hoytsma earlier, Ron, about how he's just kind of been right in the mix all day. You know, he's definitely seemed like a top 10. At this point, I definitely feel like I confidently say top 5 car. But if he continues to drive it this way and figure something out here in these closing laps, he might be able to have something for that 84 car.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff still left to be determined. 38 laps left to go. Hoytsma, Delaney, Benefiel. I wouldn't even rule out Hunter Truhl grabbing the checkered flag in this race. I think all the drivers running inside the top 5 have a really good shot to get it done, but my eye is going to be on some of these walls. If we have another yellow, that will certainly break up this finish quite a lot, but as it stands presently, it is still an even keel race with those drivers at the front. The fastest of those racers last time by was actually your P4 runner of Adam Benefiel. That number 83 car, have it be known, he's been quick. Outside of Johnny Avila, he's probably been the second quickest race car here today. So I am going to be keeping my eyes on the number 83 for sure. And he just got moved on. Jonathan Delaney proving my point. That 83 car is a man on a mission. He may decide that now is the time for him to pounce.
Yeah, Delaney's car has seemed to have a trend today of just kind of starting really strong, can kind of work its way up, and then it just kind of stalls out and then just kind of fades from there. Another driver who is definitely making a solid charge here late is that ghost car we referred to, that Corey Deal machine. He is up into the 7th spot, that purple, yellow, I mean all kinds of colors and certain lighting of Corey Deal. He's definitely on pace for a nice finish. Jacob Simpson has been through a little bit of everything today. He's spun through the infield grass on the front stretch twice, and because of hitting that exact wall, but I think it just kind of helped him right there because it propelled him to the inside of Truhl, and it's going to allow Jacob Simpson to clear the 71 off turn 2. Truhl tries to cross over, not enough speed to do so, and Jacob Simpson will take over the 5th spot. Benefiel has got his front end all over the 97 of Hoytsma for 2nd with now 33 laps to go.
We're starting to see these drivers maybe take a bit more liberties with those walls as well as we're falling out of Benefiel. I think I saw him scrape the wall teeny tiny bit, hang down into turn number 1 and 2. These track conditions are continuing to evolve. I'm curious how if we pop up the track conditions and the track temperature graphic that we saw earlier on, because I saw, yeah, there we go. Earlier on in this broadcast, it was 103 degrees Fahrenheit. Now 97 is still rather hot and the ambient temperature hasn't changed one iota, but that track temperature dipping down a little bit. It may not seem like much, but 6 degrees difference, cooler or warmer, can make a huge difference in a race like this, and considering how close it is at the front, that can really get put on full display. Following Benefiel running in 2nd, he has a 0.4 of a second gap between himself and Villa. It is swapping around though, so that gap continuing to grow and then decrease and grow and then decrease, teetering, tottering back and forth. Benefield though has one focus in mind, and that is to break away from the number 97. This man Lucas Hoytsma, he's still handing the back of that number 83 car, so as much as he may have wanted to shake him off, Benefield has not been able to do that. He is going to be towing that number 97 car right up to the front if he can't do anything to stop this.
Top three are also running just very similar lap times. You see on the ticker up there, 25:14, 25:11, 25:16. They're all pretty evenly matched and kind of an even gap between them. 3/10 between the 84 and 83, and then 3/10 between the 83 and 97. So, these guys are definitely a good matchup for one another, but I just don't know if anyone's going to be able to get by the 84. I think maybe we could see someone get up to the rear bumper. I feel like it would be Benefield. We've seen him do it once. He really paints that yellow line around the bottom of these corners very well, but it just doesn't look like it's going to be enough as the 84 continuing to make that 83 a Benefield a little smaller in the rear view mirror. Hunter Truhl is back in 6th, by the way. Not a whole lot of changes here in the top 10. Eddie Rose is 9th. Mark Padgett is 10th. Carlos Fonseca is 13th. Saw him hit pit road that last caution, so a good gamble for the 99 car. Kurt Mills, 15th. Just giving a shout out to some of these guys off camera that we haven't seen much of today or haven't had the chance to talk about, because these guys have definitely put on a great show for us and our viewers here on Maconi Entertainment. As these laps dwindle down, will be coming to 26 laps to go for that Neon 84. And Jonathan Delaney is not one to give up, Ron. He is still giving it all he's got.
Yeah, he is not letting this one go at all. And hey, credit is due to the driver, the number 6. Started this race up towards the front, dropped back in the early stages. Weren't really sure what was going on. He has had a complete evolution. I can't even say his race is done 360. It's probably done like a, I don't know, 1440 or something like that. It has gone in so many different directions ever since the drop of the green flag. Guess I'm rattling off resolution numbers here. I couldn't come up with the revolution numbers, so I came up with resolution numbers. There we go. That pun was really intended from me there. Holy cow. But for Delaney, he started this race up at the front. We were thinking, okay, he's going to be a driver we need to keep tabs on. Then he dropped back down. He just put a move on the number 97 of Lucas Hoytsma to jump his way up into the final podium spots. So clearly, that number 6 car, I should say, has still got some gusto behind the wheel. Again, getting back to the point, at one point, he was quick. At another point, we thought he was dropping down and struggling. He's gone back and forth, back and forth, back and forth between that so many times since the drop of the green flag that we haven't really been able to keep tabs on him. But hey, that sort of unpredictability out of your competitors may be part of the reason why he can come in the final 25 laps and just come in for the kill.
Impossible to slap a label on the 6 of Delaney with the day he's had, as Jacob Simpson has a mirror full of Hunter Truhl, who wants that top 5 position with about 22 and a half laps to go. And another thing that's slowly but surely starting to come into play here that we talked about a little earlier on in the show. It's been a while since it's been a factor, but that is lap traffic. We've seen the slow car of Rory in the 39 get lapped just a couple laps to go. And here are some more. Got the 35 going a lap down, and look at this mess ahead of Johnny Avila with Adam Benefield just trying to look to capitalize on this lap traffic. Could you maybe get him stuck behind someone where you can catch up, maybe pin him behind somebody? It's just going to be very interesting to see how this pans out. And oddly enough, and upsettingly enough to say, the next car that they are going to lap is actually the 87 car. The strategy we kind of just weren't all too sure about. Evidently, it is definitely not going to pay off.
Yeah, the number 87 of Eric Weinfeld not going to work out too well for him. He's now going to go one lap down at the conclusion of that lap. 21 now left to go for Johnny Avila, and he finds out with a 4.5 of a second gap between himself and Adam Benefield. Will we see the number 83 turn on the Hyperjets, though? Will we see a big sideways snap coming out of 1 and 2? Holy cow, these drivers still pushing it to the absolute limit of adhesion. That right there was a 2 of Jacob Simpson with that big sideways snap, as he is still continuing to fight, this time getting a moved on Hunter Truel. It is yet again a case of comers and goers, but this time it hasn't been comers and goers at the front. It's been who's going to be challenging Johnny Avila. At one point we thought it would be the 71, then we thought it was going to be the 97. Both of those two drivers have dropped back. Benefield is now in the catbird seat, but just in this little spiel of mine, that gap between himself and Avila has increased by about a half a second, so maybe at the end of it all, it may end up being a case of deja vu. In the earlier stages when we saw Avila and Delaney swap spots, we may end up seeing a battle yet again.
And here's a little info note at the top of your screen. Drivers who stopped on the last caution have really just not gained any advantage. Matthew Long is 13th, the first of those guys that did hit pit road. That's the black 28 Mustang on your screen there. And just, you know, it was worth the gamble. You know, if you were running about that spot, take a crack at it, see if maybe you can gain something on these guys. But ultimately not going to pay off for a win, but still a respectable day for the 28 should they bring it home. 13th, coming to 16 laps to go for Avila in the 84. Benefield now 8 tenths behind, so lap traffic is really not played to his advantage as these guys continue to wind down laps. Lucas Hoytsma still in 4th. Jonathan Delaney could maybe try to reel in the 83 for 2nd. We'll just have to wait and see. Hunter Truel 6th. Eddie Rose continues to kind of move up into 7th place now. Oh, a little bit of a slide there out of Simpson.
Oh, Simpson in that 2 car has been all over the place as of recent. I don't like the sign of all that. And look at that, coming to blows, heading off down into 1 and 2. That's going to allow Eddie Rose in the 46 to maybe pounce on the number 2 of Jacob Simpson. They're side by side down that back straightaway. Rose going to get that move done. Simpson losing out on another spot. The handling on that 2 car. It's been pretty wild ever since they dropped the green flag, but as of recent, it has gone to hell in a handbasket. That right there, that was Corey Deal. Again, a bad deal of things coming out of turn number 4. Scraped the wall a little bit. Every single time I see a single puff of smoke of drivers hitting the wall, I have a feeling we're going to see someone strike the wall in a bit more of a dramatic fashion. I'm hoping that doesn't happen, but at the same time, we've seen so many drivers get struck by that silver bullet that is the barrier that I can't necessarily say I would be surprised. Got battles going on all throughout this field. Some more smoke getting kicked up in the air from these drivers starting to beat the fenders off of their race car. They're seeing that checkered flag come out in the distance. 13 laps left to go in this 250 lap long race. Johnny Avila is still your race leader, 1.3 seconds.
Got a caution,
and here's more look at that, that's 47 getting spun to the inside, and he got spun by Mark Paget in the 02 car. The caution actually came out before then. I think based off the fact that Matthew Boston Wheeler just picked up a meatball flag, I think he may have had a piece of the action that actually brought the yellow out. The 47, though, that was completely independent. The yellow came out right before then. I think the 47, just trying to check up, got spun.
We'll take a different look at this. Looks to me like just kind of they ran out of room there. Let's see, 06 gets underneath 24, no contact. Kind of tries to go up the middle. Ooh, just went too high and kind of just cleared himself a little bit.
Yeah, I think that was definitely a self-inflicted collision there on Matthew Boston Wheeler. Leaving this race for the 06, it's probably going to be a matter of what could have been. He had a really good shot to do well in this race, but things have not worked out well. But here we go. Benefield running on the apron. I wonder if we may have to think about fuel saving. Where have I heard this story before?
Yeah, this could be interesting. I mean, Benefield, Truel still out there. Matthew Long is still out here, I believe. 47, who we just saw spin. I mean, this could be interesting because, you know, you're going to restart with less than 10 laps to go. And you're possibly going to have a decent buffer on the, oh gosh, just blacked out. Johnny Avila in the 84. So I don't know. This is it's a bold call, especially for Benefield, who, I mean, he's been tough. He's been able to hang with him. We've seen Avila lose the lead on restarts before today. So I'm not saying that staying out was a must. But we're gonna get the 1 to go, and this restart will happen with 9 to go.
And looking at some of these drivers up towards the front, I just think that difference between the tires of the front four and the drivers right behind who just came into the pits a matter of 1 lap ago, I can't square that difference between the two of them in a way that favors those drivers on older tires. As much as we are getting to the point where we will have a single-digit amount of laps left to go, only 9 to go, when we get this race restarted in a couple of moments, I don't see a way that those drivers up the front can really hold off. Benefield, Truel, Long, and Shoefield all on tires that are 41 laps or older, going to 42 or older on this restart. This is going to create a huge stack up, though. That is for certain. I think we are at a big risk of having another yellow that could potentially send us into green-white checkered territory. But here we go. That pace car turning off of the field, and let's see how it's going to shake out for Benefield and Truel. Look at that, the huge stack up on that restart. Got it back to green. Avila going to pick off some drivers already. He slips up to second. Eddie Rose just picked up a disqualification as a result of that stack up. But at the front of the field, Benefield and Avila now running P1 and P2 side by side, and contact being made. A huge crash further in the back. Someone just spun off into the infield wall. Benefield and Avila still side by side at the front. I think Avila may be able to get that move done, but the yellow is coming out yet again. That was way too much for them to remain in green. The real question is, who was in front at the time of yellow? Did Avila get that move done before that yellow came out, or was Benefield able to hold on?
Let's see what happened here. We got the 73. It's on the bottom, the orange and white car. Ooh, just kind of a stack up, and then I believe whatever car was ahead of him picked up a disqualification of some sort. Now, I couldn't tell because of the sun of what car that was. Might have been the 00. I saw DQ next to his name on the ticker there. Let's take another look. And sure enough, yep, there's the 00. He just, yep, 00 just kind of jammed up. 73 got locked from behind by the 87, and it was on from there. Just situation we've seen a couple times today. So now we'll re-rack them, and obviously the 84 Avila did get the lead. And Benefield is now in kind of a what I would call less than ideal situation with the amount of laps on those tires. You didn't get to keep the lead. So this, I don't know, this could go from a solid showing of even just a second place run to possibly a lot worse.
Yeah, I don't have a good feeling about Benefield in all of this, but one driver I want to keep my eyes on is the number 97 of Lucas Hoytsma. Now, he found himself in a pressure cooker situation at Bristol 1 week ago. Did not work out well for him, picked up that penalty, did not win that race despite crossing that start-finish line in first. But Hoytsma, based off what we've seen thus far, he doesn't have too bad of a short-run car. Who's going to have the better short-run car? Will it be Avila, who obviously has been quick ever since the drop of the green flag? Got a move done to take the lead of the race initially, back when it was a battle between himself and Jonathan Delaney, our pole sitter in this race. Is there going to be a battle between Avila and Hoytsma? I have a feeling there may be. I think that's going to be close between those two, and they're going to be nose to tail. Actually, not nose to tail. It's going to be nose to tail between Benefield and Hoytsma. My apologies. But I think if Hoytsma can get a good restart and maybe weave his way around Benefield, as long as he doesn't get stacked up too badly on this restart, we may end up seeing a battle of the titans between Johnny Avila and Lucas Hoytsma at the end of this 250 lap long race. We're coming to 5 to go this time by. Whether this is a final restart remains to be determined, but nevertheless, it has been a good one here at the Rock, and we still have a winner to be crowned. We got drivers on old tires, drivers on new tires, some drivers looking to grab not their first win of the season, others looking to punch their ticket into the playoffs. That pace car back down pit lane. The field down the hands of the green car of Avila. The green flag is out. Not a good restart for Benefield. That's going to catch out Hoytsma a little bit as a yellow back out yet. Actually, no, that is delayed slightly. The green flag still out. I thought we were going to have another flash there, but look at that. Jacob Simpson, the 2 car. Well spotted there, Shane. He made a massive run heading off through 1 and 2, and this side-by-side fight between Simpson and Hoytsma going to slow both of them down. They're going to be like dragging an anchor through asphalt. This may be music to the ears of Johnny Avila.
Yeah, this is exactly what the 84 wants to see, and an unbelievable move from Jacob Simpson to take away second. Get you a shot of that post-race, regardless of where this 2-car finishes. He's just trying to hang on for second right now. We're coming back to 3 laps to go. Hoytsma giving it all he's got. This tight on exit there, and you mentioned how it probably wasn't going to work out for Adam Benefield, and still holding in 7th place, and caution is back out.
And this is going to send us into green-white checkered. Yep, it certainly will. Overtime territory has been reached, and this is the reason why this caution is coming out with 3 laps left to go in regulation. You can see 3 wide action, the 24 and the 12. The 3-car gang involved in that incident as well. That was a big crash heading down that start-finish straight away. The 12 gang stopped in the worst possible time. The 3-car picked up a meatball flag and all of that. The 12 obviously stopped on that start-finish area. And now this will be the first of 3 attempts that are allotted to these racers. 3 green-white checkers are allotted to them. Will we burn through all of them, or will we be able to get this sorted out before them? Remains to be determined. Either way, though, Johnny Avila, as much as he thought that he was running away with it, he's now going to find himself feeling a whole lot of pressure. That 2-car of Jacob Simpson, as much as I said Hoytsma was the one to look out for, I have a feeling after those heroics on the restart, the 2 maybe who we have to keep tabs on.
Yeah, this is yeah, this is, and another thing to point out is, we're running out of tires here for these guys. We're gonna take a look at this last restart. Watch the blue number 2 car of Jacob Simpson here. The 83 is not gonna get a good start at all. That's gonna jam up the 97. The 28 doesn't have a good run either. So Jacob simply takes it 3 wide, and the 83 just stays in the lane of the 97 in the C's part, and there he goes through to second. So just a great sense of awareness, great driving by Jacob Simpson to set himself up. He's still got the 2nd place position here at the moment of caution. So if he can get a good restart, that's a green-white checkered. What do you got for the 84? Can we see Jacob Simpson steal one? He'd go from spinner to winner, spinner times 2 to winner. It's been a heck of a day for him, but we're setting up for something pretty exciting here. I think we'll see the 1 to go this time by, and we'll have our first shot at a green-white checkered, and like I said, we'll get 3 of them.
Yep, first of 3 attempts to try and get this race sorted out. You can see them already starting to rack it up a little bit. I think we may be getting this race restarted in a couple of laps time. In fact, there are the lights out on the pace car. Some drivers come down pit lane a little bit farther in the back. They will not be changing the discussion for the race win. I believe it may have been Brian Wortman who came down in the pits. You can see he has a penalty. I think he actually may have been stopped on the infield in all of that. So that is going to be... That's going to be a fun one for them. That's not the ideal way to end this race, but at the front of the field, 1 driver is going to leave it all victorious. The front 6 in this field have all come into the pits at the exact same time. 11 laps on their tires. You can see Benefield in 7th. He's been on those tires for the past 58 laps. He's going to be having a Fred Flintstone it around this racetrack at the very end of all of this. This is going to be some fun, though, for Villa, Simpson, Delaney, Hoytsma. I wouldn't rule out a driver like Austin Evie potentially getting involved in all this. That Bud 03 could be fun. Look at the 6 giving a small little push to a Villa. May end up having to talk about fuel potentially at the end of all of this, but nevertheless, the green flag back out for the first of 3 green-white checkered attempts, and Avila getting off to a yellow flyer. That's going to help out his cause a lot. Some side-by-side racing going on involving Simpson and Delaney. Hoytsma looking to get involved in all of that action as well. Looking all throughout this field, trying to see contact being made. Coming at 3 and 4, and that is multiple cars. Hoytsma, I think, got a piece of that action as well. Lots of drivers stacking up, and that is going to be the first of 3 green-white checkered attempts coming up sour. Noah Woods involved in all that in the 68 car. You can see him stopped, and let's take a look at this replay. That was ugly.
We got a lot of carnage here. It was pretty tight between a couple of these guys. And the wall got another one. Oh, 68, 03 moved hard to the outside wall. The 27 gets clipped. I think that was the 03, or sorry, the V3 getting clipped. The 27 involved. The 33 was able to get it wound up enough to avoid it. Just a disaster there. And I will say, and this is the 27 machine. This is the one who gets clipped here. Phillips, Tim Phillips in the 27. See, just going down the back, wall catches them. There they go to the inside, and you got to yank it right, and you just get hooked. And I mean, there was nothing, not a thing that he could have done to prevent that. Just horrible placing, timing, everything just did not work out. And Jacob Simpson got a great restart there that last time. I feel like if that was able to stay green, if I was Jacob Simpson, I was throwing everything I had at the 84 there going into turn 3 specifically, because I feel like that's your chance. I don't feel like you can wait till the white flag with how good Johnny Avila has been today. I feel like you have to pounce on him when you can. So we'll take another crack at it. Like you said, we'll get 3 tries at this. Got some of these guys on the apron, so kind of wondering if some of these guys didn't take enough fuel to take overtime into consideration. But this will be attempt number 2, and we'll have a third if we need it. And then once the third comes, if we crash again and we get a caution, that's it.
I wonder how exactly this race is going to come to a conclusion. These drivers are very fast and very competitive and very skilled, do not get me wrong. I just have a feeling that considering how hectic these final 50 laps have been, I'm not a betting man. If I were a betting man, I'm pretty sure I would not be able to afford Greek yogurt or anything of the sorts. So I have a feeling that this may be something you need to take with a grain of salt. But I have a feeling we may not be seeing that checkered flag come out. I think it's going to be yellow and checkered, if I'm being completely honest. But hey, we still got 2 more attempts to make it to the end of this race. This will be the last one where these drivers have a mulligan. After this, when that green flag comes back out, the next one is going to end in yellow, checkered, or otherwise. Won't even have to worry about the white. This is going to be a barn burner of a finish, no matter how you slice it. Avila, Simpson, Delaney, and Hoytsma making up your top 4. All of them have a good shot to win it. They have quick race cars. That 84 has been quick ever since the drop of the green flag, and he's going to be leading them back to green for what may be the last time in this race. That outside line is usually a little bit good, and it's going to be good this time yet again for Avila. The green flag back out. Look at these racers fanning out, heading down into the corner. Some drivers running on the apron. Simpson getting off to a really good restart. He's going to be right to the back of the 84. He may have a fantastic opportunity heading down into 3 and 4. Will he use the bumper? Will the other drivers right behind him get involved in all that? Hoytsma and Delaney have a side-by-side fight of their own, but heading out of 3 and 4 for the seconds last time. The white flag in the air. The next one's going to decide it. Avila finding that white with nothing between himself and Jacob Simpson. Does that 2 car have enough of head of speed on this final lap to try and get to the back of that 84 car, or does Avila have this in the bag? Heading down into 3 and 4 for the last time in this race. That 2 car had a wild ride, but the 84 car has been dominant ever since the drop of the green flag. He's going to take the checkered flag here at Rockingham.
That was exciting. It was a great finish. Jacob Simpson gave it all he had. And Johnny Avila just ran the fastest lap of the day on the last lap of the day. What a time to do it. Great effort from Jacob Simpson. Hoytsma comes home 3rd. Delaney, Paget got a top 5 out of it. Benefield was still able to get a top 10. Jeremy Clapper Newell gets a top 10. Just, oh boy. And he's headed straight for victory lane. Right here on the front stretch at Rockingham. That is perfect. Park it right there.
I'll tell you what. Oh, and he's gonna get joined by his teammate right there. Yeah, the number 73. Gonna give a small little burn at there. And congratulations, 84 car though, an absolutely brilliant finish at the end of this race. That 2 and 84 battle was intense. I think we may need to take a look at a replay of all of that. I'm still trying to catch my breath in the midst of all of that. That was a barn burner to end it all here at Rockingham. I will also say, once we get those results loaded up, we will tell you about the drivers who are going to be contending for a pretty nice payday come time for the next race of this season at Talladega. But as the 84 car burns it, there is your winner. He was dominant ever since the drop of the green flag. Avila going to be your victor. He held off the challenge at the end, and he's trying to burn that sucker to the ground. And after a performance like that, can you ever blame him? He has the right to burn that thing to the ground.
Absolutely. Just the dominant performance, even fought some adversity. Just fantastic finish.
Yeah, what a good one here at the Rock. We were thinking, heading into this race, what this race was going to bring. Were these drivers going to run into the same late race drama that they fell into at Bristol 1 week ago? What was the Rock cooking heading into this race? Yeah, with that joke. Yeah, with that joke said,
I was wondering when you were going to get it in. I noticed you hadn't got it in yet.
I was thinking about that. I was like, you know what? I'll have to hold off on that right at the end of that race. That was genuinely, I think there's cans of cheese was there less cheesy than that a couple of moments ago. Here are your results, though, at the end of all of it. It's Johnny Avila winning this race in the 84 car, Jacob Simpson finishing in P2, Lucas Hoitzmo running at your top 3. We have Jonathan Delaney finishing in 4th, Mark Paget put on a really hard charge towards the end of that race to round at your top 5. Tanner Marty in 6th, Adam Benefiel in 7th, Matthew Long in P8, Hunter Truel in 9th, and Jeremy Clapper Newell rounding at your top 10 at the end of this race.
And then we got Eric Wineland 11th, Kirk Mills 12th, Nolan Hodgson in 13th, Jim Schofield in 14th, fought a lot of adversity himself. Corey Deal, the ghost car that our producer loves so much, comes home 15th. Cliff Mullins in 16th. Tim Phillips, despite all that 27 car went through, 17th. Austin Evie, 18th. Carlos Fonseca in the 99 comes home 19th. Joseph McWhorter in 20th. 4 laps off the pace. I'll take us down to 21st through 30th is Rory Collins. That another car that went through a lot. 4 laps down, 21st. Brian Wortman, Noah Woods, Ken Round in 23rd and 24th. Steve Benjamin, 25th. John Kelly, Eddie Rose, Beach in the 00. Prachik, Matthew Boston Wheeler, who had a lot of potential, sadly comes home in 30th. And to round it out here, we got Mason Lowry, Kyle Ammon, Cody Goza in 33rd, Jeff Kay, very eventful day for the 49, 34th, Jordan Person, 35th, Corey Bird, Joe Rollins, 36th and 37th, then Daniel Llewellyn and Jason S. Taylor in 39th. Don't believe they even made a lap there. Might have been a DQ there from the initial start of the race, but what a race we had here.
Yeah, it was a barn burner here at Rockingham. And Shane, I know you have to dip out a little bit early, so I will pass the floor off to you if you have some final thoughts before we let you go.
Yeah, just an awesome race here. I love everything we do here on Maconi Entertainment. These guys put on an amazing show for us. Huge congrats to Avila. That was just a dominant performance. Absolutely deserved it. And I can't wait to see what Talladega brings these guys. I mean, there's $100 on the line, and it's a drafted track. It's going to be very chaotic, but it's going to be very exciting.
Yeah, that was a barn burner of a race here in Talladega in 1 week's time is going to be some fun. But hey, we got some drivers waiting off we have some drivers waiting in the interview waiting area, if I can spit my words out here properly. And I think we are going to start, how exactly we should do this. I think we may end up doing this in a slight reverse order and touch off with our 3rd place finisher at the end of this race, who may be a little bit happier with how things went compared to Bristol 1 week ago. And that is Lucas Hoitzma, our P3 finisher at the end of this race. Lucas, welcome into the booth and well done on the P3 at the end of this race. How about you talk us through this barn burner here at the Rock?
Yeah, that was a crazy night. We loaded in, saw we had 8 total sets of tires. I'm like, well, we got plenty for this race, and ended up using all of them. Plus, some guys ran out of them. So that was definitely a different Rockingham race. I'm used to this place going green a lot, but we get cautions every like 30, 35 laps, come down, and kind of made everybody figure out when they wanted to save that extra set. And luckily, it worked out pretty well for me, and I got a podium finish off of it. I felt like maybe I had something to try to get to Johnny there, but just wasn't able to get up to the front row and do something. But he was so fast all night. I don't think I could have done anything anyway.
Yeah, it looked like that 84 car was on rails, but I will say I was keeping my eye out on you on that final restart because I knew that number 97 car of yours had some speed on those short runs. I want to ask you about how your confidence was coming to the end of this race.
Yeah, it was looking pretty grim. I think about 100 to go. I stayed out on older tires expecting a quick caution, and that did not happen. And went about 20 seconds behind the leader. It was really looking bad for me, and luckily I got that caution I needed. And then I got up there with those guys even on tires and was able to push it pretty hard to try to get some track position. And I felt pretty confident on the long runs and really surprised myself. I saved quite a bit while pushing hard on that second to last run, so I was really happy with that. But that short run, I wasn't too confident myself. I just about wrecked the 2 when I sent it in too hard in turn 1 when the caution came out, so I'm glad it came out because things probably would have got dicey. So I was really a lot better on the long runs tonight.
So either way, it was a valiant effort for you in the number 97 car, and in the process of that, you not only get a P3, you're also going to find yourself being one of the Dash for Cash drivers for the next round of the season at Talladega. That's the wild card to end all wild cards. Throw in a nice little payday that a small little tangling carrot for you drivers who finished in the top 4 for this race here at the Rock. That's going to be a fun one in 1 week's time.
Yeah, Talladega definitely going to be one to watch just for these Xfinity cars on Fridays and then the Cup cars on Saturdays. It's going to be definitely something interesting to watch for sure. And this league definitely likes to go green on the super speedways, so look for a really entertaining race and a lot of good battling. So excited for that. But just want to thank my guys at RH Motorsports, John Delaney, Jacob Simpson, both here tonight. Everybody at Low Drag. Quinn at 712 Brakes, you guys for putting this on, everybody who puts effort into this, and Johnny for winning. He was really fast. Got to shout out just how fast that was. It was dominating.
And we're going to be having a chat with him in a couple of moments and see what sort of rocket fuel he had under that car, taking a leaf out of the Michael Waltrip racing rule book there. But Lucas, thank you for joining us here in the commentary booth. Well done on the P3, and excited to see you back out on the track fighting for $100 at Talladega next week.
Appreciate it, guys. See you.
And that right there was the number 97 of Lucas Hoytsma, your P3 finisher at the end of this race. We're going to have a chat with our P2 finisher, fittingly in the number 2 car. It is Jacob Simpson joining us now in the commentary booth. Jacob, welcome in and talk about a roller coaster race here at Rockingham. From mowing through the grass twice on that start-finish straightaway to come up oh so close to grabbing the victory. How about you talk us through that roller coaster ride here at the Rock?
That's exactly what I texted my friend. A roller coaster. Yeah, I'm disappointed in myself a little bit. I don't think I could have beat Johnny straight up, but I didn't need to make it that hard on myself for however long that race was, a couple hours. Yeah, caught the right rear on the safer barrier, which put the right front into the concrete, and it just spun me out. I chose to correct left instead of stuffing it in the wall and having a bunch of damage. And my idiot self did it twice. So after that, it was just tires. I'm just trying to do that balance of who do you let pass, how do you not get too far behind, saving tires. But we got saved by that. I didn't like to see those green, white checkers, but we got saved by that caution with like 10 to go or whatever it was because I felt like the track changed big time because I was saving almost like I was the whole race, and my right rear was gone. I was going to finish probably 10th. So I was glad to see that one, but not the last like 4.
It was definitely a hectic end to this race, but it worked out for you either way, finishing P2 at the end of all of it and punching your ticket to be one of the Dash or Cash drivers for the next race of the season at Talladega. I want to ask you about your thoughts fighting for $100 down there in Alabama.
Well, I love the Xfinity car. I feel pretty confident in my plate racing abilities in this thing. The Cup car is, you get penalized for making moves. So you just stay in line and ride, and I don't know how to race that thing. So if I had to be in the running for something, I would pick this car if I had to go to Talladega. But, anything can happen. Anything probably will happen at Talladega.
Yeah, I am expecting just about anything to happen. A car flying up in the air, striking one of our Maconi Entertainment helicopters. May end up seeing an asteroid strike in the infield. We're going to see a lot of stuff out there on the racetrack, but it's going to be a fun show nevertheless. But Jacob, thank you for joining us here in the commentary booth. Well done on the P2. But before we let you go and celebrate this result, is there anybody you want to give a thanks to or shout out?
Shout out my buddy Will Porter. My car's got the scoring pylon on it, our podcast. We took a break this year. He's serving the town of Summerville, South Carolina firefighters. So his time was taken up a little bit with that. So we're going to start that back up probably sometime this year, if not next year. But it's on Spotify and all of your platforms.
Alrighty, there you go, man. Well, hey, well done on the P2 result here at the Rock, and excited to see you back out on the track for the next race of the season at Talladega. Thank you for joining us, man.
Thank you. Thank you for doing the broadcast.
And thank you for joining us. That right there was the number 2 of Jacob Simpson, your runner-up finisher at the end of this race. And now we get to have a chat with a man who is probably going to be so happy he's crapping con candy at the end of this race. Johnny Avila now joining us in the commentary booth. Johnny, everyone said that your 84 car was a rocket ship here at the Rock. So I want to ask you about your perspective in that race.
Yeah, it was definitely hooked up tonight. The competition in this field is extremely strong, so to have the kind of showing I did is really impressive. It was fun. I love The Rock, and I gotta thank Bobby for letting me join last second, because I normally work late on Friday, so I wasn't able to do this league. I did a little bit of it last year in the Cup car, and this league is great, so I'm really thankful they were able to get me in. I didn't have work today, so it was fun to come out here and race these guys. It's always great.
And it was nice to see you out there on the racetrack, running that number 84 car pretty much at the front from the drop the green flag all the way through to the fall of the checkered. With some of those green-white checkered attempts, I want to ask you, despite the fact you have some green and some white on that race car of yours, can you imagine those green-white checkers were a bit more tense from your perspective behind the wheel?
Yeah, it's definitely nerve-wracking. I had to keep reminding myself to put the car in the right gear for the restarts, because one of them I launched in 4th gear. So I was like, let's not do that again. But yeah, it's definitely scary because you don't know what's going to happen, and everybody's all bunched up. Somebody can send it in deep or just be really fast on the short run.
I still got to say, overall, it was a good one for you here today, grabbing the victory and cementing your place as one of the Dash for Cash drivers for the next race of the season at Talladega. That's usually unpredictable. Throw a $100 cash prize at the end of it all. That's going to be a fun one.
That'll be definitely a lot of fun. Unfortunately, I won't be there, but I'll be sure to check in the broadcast and cheer some of these guys on.
Well, hopefully you're subscribed to Maconi Entertainment, so you can always see us bring the action to life. But Johnny, unfortunate to hear that you won't be out there on the racetrack for Talladega, but glad you're out there here at the Rockingham to just completely smoke them in this race, for lack of a better term. But thank you so much for joining us here in the commentary booth, giving us your side of things in that race. And before we let you go and pop the top off that champagne bottle in victory lane, is there anybody you want to give a thanks to or shout out?
Once again, I'd just like to thank Bobby for getting me in this race. I kind of asked him last second. And then secondly, I'd like to thank Outlier Speedco. I build the Xfinity car there, so if you want to check out some setups at a reasonable price, you can always come on over and check them out.
Alrighty, there you go, man. Hey, Johnny, thank you for joining us here in the commentary booth, and well done on the victory.
Thank you, guys. Have a great night.
You as well. That right there was Johnny Avila, our winner at the end of this race here at the Rock. And as you heard, he's not going to be there for the next race of the season at Talladega. However, our P4 finisher of Delaney, our P3 finisher of Hoytsma, and our P2 finisher of Jacob Simpson certainly will be. And hopefully all of you tuning into this broadcast here on Maconi Entertainment will be here for that racing action. The Dash for Cash, $100 on offer for those 3 drivers that are going to be out there on the racetrack. Talladega always puts on a barn burner of a race, and I have a feeling that it's going to be some more fun there as well. But as for this broadcast this evening here on Maconi Entertainment, I think that will just about do it. And so for myself, Ron Mons, my colleague Shane Mundy, who is joining me in the commentary booth throughout a decent chunk of this broadcast, and Howie Burrows working the late shift and doing a wonderful job working on the cameras in the virtual production hauler, I say thank you all so very much for watching this evening's presentation on Maconi Entertainment, and we hope to see you all wherever it is in the not too distant future.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need: Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
There is a reason that Maconi Setup Shop is partnered with more real-world tracks and companies, including Junior Motorsports, than any other group on the iRacing service.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.